Folks, once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Would love to say happy Friday to all you folks out there. Somewhat of a slow news day. There's still a hell of a lot of division on the Republican side of the aisle. The Speaker of the House is still not for certain if he is going to remain the Speaker of the House. So he's consulting with President Trump, to a lesser degree Marjorie Taylor Greene, to see if he will remain Speaker of the House. The problem with that is, I'll tell you right off the bat, the fact that the current Speaker of the House, we're talking about the head of Congress, the fact that he has to continue to consult with President Trump before he can do anything, while President Trump is merely a citizen right now, shows just how much control President Trump has. The Speaker of the House does not have security in his job. He has to go and consult with President Trump to get his blessing for anything to happen. But that's kind of the gist of it. Otherwise, it's somewhat of a slow news day. Now, next week will be different. President Trump becomes the first former president in American history to officially have a criminal trial begin, and that is next week. So next week will be more likely to be a much busier news week than today of sorts. So today we want to have a simple conversation. Slow news day, as we stated. You see the video, or better yet, the live stream is titled Concerned American Voters. What I want to ask from the folks, there's a hell of a lot of things we're concerned with. I kind of rattled off a few. Number one being the economy. Most folks are really concerned about the border, you and your family being safe. Other issues might be abortion rights, the global conflicts breaking out worldwide between Russia and Ukraine. You got Iran threatening to battle back against Israel. Israel still fighting the Palestinians and Hamas. China's looking at Taiwan sideways. Other folks talk about LGBT issues, religious freedoms, racial harmony way down on the list, and certainly free and fair elections. What I want to ask the viewers, I want to hear from you folks, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. You know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. What are the two most pressing concerns you have, particularly if the candidate you have chosen for 2024 does not get elected? What are your two most concerning issues that the wrong guy for president might do to you and this country? What are the two most pressing issues you're concerned with? We're going to go straight to the box, or maybe at the comment section, but simple show today. Like I said, it's a slow news day. You know the program is always will remain MAGA. I just hit mute. The program is always will remain MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. It's been like that since day one. It will always be that way. Free speech reigns supreme on here. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everybody gets to speak. Two most pressing issues for yourself as a voter. Looking in the comments, Supreme Court is on a conspiracy against America Justice Department on Trump. Ridiculous. That's a mouthful, Joseph, but I don't quite understand it. The Supreme Court is on a conspiracy against America Justice Department. Elaborate. I don't quite get that. Two most pressing issues. Why do people always call a former president the president? Trump is no longer president. Obama is. It's respect for the office there, 45. Always 45, 452, or whatever your numbers there is. A lot of folks who are no longer, who are not fans of President Trump. I get a lot of viewers that are not fans of President Trump criticizing yours truly all the time because I call the guy President Trump. That's out of respect for the office. President Obama, President Clinton, folks still call Hillary Clinton Madam Secretary. That's, Chris Christie was, anytime he's on television, they're calling him governor. That's what happens. That's called respect for the office. If you want to add former president before to make yourself happy, I get it. But that is respect for the office. That's how it is always done. Looking at the comments, the economy and borders. Number one and number two, if I'm correct. So going straight to the box, what are your two biggest concerns if the wrong candidate, the one you're not choosing, gets elected in November? Going straight to the box, we'll start it out with Texas. You know they say everything is bigger in Tejas. Good afternoon, Texas. Trump had no respect for the office, so he doesn't deserve respect. Wow. Why would you say that Trump didn't have any respect? Texas, good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going good. You're kind of low. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm moving inside here real quick.
Yeah, you sound way off the microphone or something. I'll give you a second. Real quick in the comment. The guy is facing 91 felony charges. So how is calling him president respect for the office? Because he hasn't been convicted of anything. The same with Hillary Clinton. Lock her up. She ain't been convicted of nothing. You sound like you believe in guilty until proven innocent. Yes, Trump is facing 88 criminal charges. 0 convictions. So until he's convicted, the man gets the benefit of the doubt. Texas, can you hear me?
Yeah, is it better now?
Loud and clear. So,
Okay.
2 pressing concerns. What say you?
Well, I think with either candidate, we're going to have our concerns. With Biden, my biggest concerns would be his transparency as president. It's always lacked, so I wonder how much more that would be if he got another term, as well as, just our his foreign policy and how, with Gaza and places like that, his lack of leadership in those areas are causing, protests and things like that. How's it going to escalate?
Let me ask you this now. I'm assuming, because I asked your concerns if the wrong guy got elected, and you talked about Biden. So I'm assuming you would prefer Trump gets reelected.
I mean, out of the two,
there's no problem with whatever your answer is.
I mean, I guess I would prefer Trump to get elected over Biden, but it's not much better. So
wow. So because I was going to ask you. Now you're saying you prefer Trump, but you don't think he would be much better than Biden. You brought up Biden's handling of global issues in regards to what's going on in Gaza. Do you think Trump would handle that better?
Well, I think the only thing it would be better is that people would know where he stands. A lot of Biden supporters, a lot of left-leaning supporters, they don't know where Biden stands on it. And he kind of, muddies the waters where he stands and stuff. Where Trump, you're going to know what you get. And so, I think that's what a lot of people need is whether you support his ideals or where his stance is on it, you at least know where he's at. Where Biden, you don't know where he's at sometimes.
So based on 4 years we've seen of Trump already, where do you think he stands on Israel's continued battle with Palestinians in Hamas?
Well, with Hamas more than Palestinians, but yeah, I mean, he would definitely be 100% behind Israel, probably getting rid of the Hamas threat and the Islamic threat to Israel in that region.
So he would certainly, in other words, he would push, because Israel is, some folks are suggesting what they're doing is genocide. Other folks are suggesting that they're going way above and beyond self-defense. You're saying that Trump would back what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, well, he would know. He knows that that region this conflict's been going on for forever. It's not something that's going to be resolved as quickly as like Biden has said it should be. Calling for things. He's going to know that they need to take the stance and the moves they need to do in order to better themselves. He may call and would hopefully call for more humanitarian effort in the region. Is there improvements that need to be done on Israel's part? Yeah, I think everyone knows that. But, until the threat is eliminated, how is it our business to tell them how to handle it in that sense? You know what I mean? As long as
let me respond by saying this. If someone is attacking you and they were incapable of attacking you unless I gave them weapons, and you could see me handing them weapons, am I not your enemy as well?
Okay, so you're saying that Hamas didn't attack first? Is that what
No. What I am saying is, you said what's going on over there should not concern us in America. As long as we are handing Israel weapons, we are creating enemies. Anybody who is an enemy of Israel is now an enemy of the United States, because we're the only reason they can do that.
Well, I mean, I think everyone in the world knows that Israel is our biggest ally in that area, right? So that's nothing new. That's just us standing behind our ally.
Okay.
I think that's what we're supposed to do.
So as long as we stand behind what they're doing, or as you say, self-defense, whatever you want to call it, as long as we stand behind Israel, there's no way we can say what's going on over there is none of our business. We're drawing enemies to ourselves by bagging Israel.
I didn't say it was none of our business. I said it's not our business on how to tell them how to do it, right?
You don't think? So if they drop a nuclear weapon in Gaza, and you say, well, it's not our business to tell them how to do it, you don't think that would cause all kinds of problems for America?
Has Bibi said he's going to drop a nuclear weapon?
I'm speculating. I don't know what he might do, but what I'm saying is, you're saying...
It's more than speculating, but I don't think anybody's talked about nuclear war over there besides Iran, right? I mean, if anybody's made nuclear threats, that's been the Islamic State. Not,
but I think you're missing the message. What I'm saying is, you're saying that we should not tell Israel how to respond. But what I'm trying to get across to you is how Israel responds creates enemies for America.
Well, I mean, I think the way Israel responds would create more enemies for themselves, as long as we support them, by saying, hey, they have to do what they need to do, and pushing them to do more humanitarian aid. That wouldn't really necessarily create enemies for us. But at the same time, I think, it's pretty common. Like, if that's your ally, you're going to need to support your ally. You don't need to be like, oh, well, we don't like what you're doing, because then you weaken your ties with that ally. And if we lose Israel as an ally, like what could possibly happen if Biden keeps flip-flopping around, where are we going to stand in that area? Because no one in that region supports us more than Israel does. Iran doesn't support us. Iraq doesn't support us. Syria doesn't support us. So to explain to me how we would benefit by throwing away our ties with Israel.
Well, I don't believe we should throw away our ties with Israel, but I also don't believe we should throw away our influence. I disagree with you that we should just let them defend Israel any way they like, and we should take our hands off and just support them. If they go above and beyond, it's going to cause problems here.
I mean, you want to throw out hypotheticals with...
No, I'm telling you what's actually happening. That's what's happening.
You tried to say that Israel could nuke them.
No, I asked you if. It's a
hypothetical. That's what I said. If you're going to throw out hypotheticals, let's throw out a hypothetical. How would you feel if, a country attacked us and then Israel started telling us how to defend ourselves? Do you think that would be accepted?
Well, first of all, we could defend ourselves without the assistance of Israel. So it's a big difference.
Israel can defend themselves. What assistance militarily have we provided them?
Did you really ask that question? What do you think they're bombing Gaza with? All that's American weapons.
I'm not talking about the bombing part. I'm talking about just the Iron Dome. Yeah, we've helped them get that, but that's all under their possession, right?
Let me make it clear.
We're not helping them as much as we've helped Ukraine.
Let me give this to you. I can't give this to you more clear than what I'm about to say. Without American assistance, Israel could not defend itself in that region. It is that simple. Israel cannot say that about America against any of our enemies.
Okay, if you feel that way, I feel Israel could defend itself just fine without us, but...
So even if America did not provide any support, any logistical or weapon support to Israel, you think they would be okay?
Yeah, I think they would be.
All right. We have a difference of opinion.
I like how you turn the hypothetical into reality. Well, that can't happen, but you wanted me to answer the nuclear attack from Israel in Gaza as if it is a possibility. But, okay, I mean, I think that's, whatever you think is fair. But,
all right.
I mean, we wouldn't like another country telling us how to defend ourselves. And we would need assistance from other countries because we don't have as much ammunition as we would need if there was like a land invasion in America. The ammunition supplies are very short, if you didn't know that. So we would actually need Germany, UN, everything like that to be sending us ammunition, just like any country would need in a conflict.
Well, in response to the statement, we would not like a country telling us how to defend ourselves, a hell of a lot of people told us not to go into Iraq. They were doing exactly what you're saying. That's why you had the coalition of the willing and not NATO.
That's not the same thing. That's us going into another country. I'm talking about a country attacking us here and having soldiers coming in here and attacking our people and civilians in the United States, just like they did in Israel, right? I'm flipping it from Israel to United States. That's the hypothetical. So you can't compare to what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's not the same scenario.
Actually, here's where I disagree with you. When we went into Iraq, they sold that to us as it was an act of self-defense. They sold to us that Bin Laden launched that invasion from there at the behest of Saddam Hussein. They did launch it that way. We took 3,000 casualties because Iraq, working with Bin Laden, caused that. It was sold as self-defense. They changed it later on, but it was sold as an act of self-defense.
Afghanistan was sold that way. Iraq was just weapons of mass destruction, but which we know that there was none there. But Afghanistan is what they were saying was self-defense. But we all know, I mean, Russia was in Afghanistan before us trying to do the same thing, right? I mean, stabilize that area to their benefit, and that's all we were really trying to do. And we knew, a lot of us knew that before that happened, but 9/11 gave us the opportunity to say, well, hey, we've been attacked, we need to answer this, right? It wasn't a thing that was necessary as much as it is for Israel against Hamas, because Hamas made the attack, killed 1,300 people or whatever, and was attacking civilians.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit different.
Okay, I do have to move it on. We can agree to disagree that it's different in your opinion and not so in mine, but nevertheless, you're always welcome back, Texas. Appreciate you coming on. All right, moving the program on, and where I disagree is the notion that you cannot tell someone how to defend themselves when you're on the world stage stating, we back Israel. If we're telling everyone around the world that we back this nation and they go do some shit we don't agree with, who do you think's also going to be held accountable for it? If you're going to tell folks you're backing this person, then you need to be communicating with them on the actions they take, because if they overstep, you're going to be held accountable as well. I don't know how the last caller had a difference of opinion on that. I don't get that. But if you're going to tell me that you're standing behind someone, but I'm not going to tell them what to do, well, if they overstep, you're going to be held accountable as well. Look it in the comments. Biden administration has not said that, says Douglas. America in general on the world stage has made it clear they stand with Israel. As my last caller rightfully pointed out, the world has always known that. The world has always known America has Israel's back. Biden, Trump, Obama, they don't have to say it specifically. It's well-known information. Everybody knows that, which is why it is very important for America to offer commentary to Israel. Because if they go above and beyond, we're going to be viewed as co-conspirators. But some of you folks think I'm getting it wrong. Look at it in the comments. Israel is America's partner. Well, my last caller, before we go back to the box, my last caller suggested that without American assistance, Israel would be just fine. They weren't getting logistics, support, weapons, military supplies from America. They would be just fine. I have a hard time, a very hard time believing that. Thank you for the hat there. I don't know who that was that sent that, but thank you. Going back to the box, we'll continue on with Benny De Leon. Good afternoon, Benny. Welcome to the program.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. You're kind of noisy in the background there, though.
Hang on. Yeah, I got a lot of noise. I'm just gonna jump out.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it sounds like you might have been driving. Okay, we'll keep it moving though. Real quick in the comments, Israel's $25 billion GDP, 18th wealthiest country in the world. Taxpayers gave them $8 billion per year. Money ain't everything. Saudi Arabia couldn't defend itself on its own. You seen what Saddam Hussein did to Kuwait? There's a ton of money in Kuwait. If you don't have the military structure in place, the money alone ain't gonna do it. I get that Israel has a hell of a lot of money, but that alone ain't gonna do it. When you got probably the entire continent viewing you as the enemy, literally every neighbor of Israel sees them as the enemy. Little bit less so in Jordan, but Jordan's not a great friend of Israel. But all the rest of that shit, Syria, Egypt, and all of the countries spreading out, Iran, Yemen, Iraq, none of those countries are friends of Israel. You're not going to buy your way out of that conflict if something kicks off. You need someone like the United States or potentially China or Russia, a really big military power to save your ass. I don't believe that Israel would be okay without American influence. I don't think they could buy their way out of that. I really don't. Particularly because the entire conflict is biblical. It's not necessarily about money. Those folks believe that God, Allah, has an issue with this country. I don't know if you can buy your way out of that. I really don't. Looking in the comments, America has several mutual defense agreement treaties with Israel since 1952. Bibi Netanyahu is the problem. I agree with that. Republicans, oh my God. Let me go back to the box. That viewer has stated that his name is Republicans are racist as fuck. Wow. All right, going back to the comments. You guys are harsh. Rican, Texas. Good afternoon, Rican. 2 issues concerning you most if somehow, some way your opposition gets reelected. Rican, Texas. Good afternoon. Rican, are you there?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, if the opposing candidate gets reelected, what are your 2 greatest issues that you would be concerned with?
That on the economy, and the second issue is this Christo-fascist movement within the United States.
Christo-fascist movement. You gotta explain that. That's a mouthful.
Speaker of the House.
You gotta give me more information than that.
Ron Johnson.
Okay. But Christo-fascist movement, what does that involve?
The 10 Commandments in school.
Okay. You think
Bringing back the 10 Commandments.
Putting the 10 Commandments in schools is a bad thing, a good thing?
That's a whole big move. Exactly. Project 2025. All of that is being done by conservative Christians. They signed on to this stuff. And it's a movement that's been going on in the United States for many years. So that's a concern for me.
Okay.
They want to take away other people's religion, enforce their religion, all of that stuff.
What makes you suggest that the conservatives want to take away religious freedoms for non-Christians?
Project 2025.
What?
Like I said.
Okay.
Yeah, Project 2025.
Okay.
Right?
Let's take it apart. For folks who don't know the details of Project 2025, what's in there to suggest that they want to take away religious freedoms?
They want to make Christianity the state religion. That's unconstitutional, right? Go against the Constitution.
Well,
they want to establish Christianity as the main religion in the United States. That's what I'm talking about.
Now, I get your point, but I don't know if that, while it does step over the line of separation of church and state, I don't know if that removes religious freedom, though, because even if you make Christianity the religion of the state, does that still prevent somebody from practicing another religion?
I've seen plenty of movements to close down mosques before in this country. It's happened before, So yeah, and I'm concerned about freedom from religion also, which the Constitution said a lot of people have the right.
Yeah. So you believe they could actually?
Choice.
So when you mentioned closing down,
another problem.
When you mentioned closing down mosques, so you're saying that it's possible that if we get conservative leadership, they could make it so that other religions can't even open up places of worship?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. That could be a problem. That's extreme. It might sound extreme to a lot of people, but it's going on. They are there. The Heritage Foundation, the Mercers of this country, there's a lot, the family, I forget what the Family Alliance, all these groups are multi-millionaires behind all these groups, and they're making a big push. That's why now we start seeing school boards being invaded by different groups, and it's all the same agenda.
So how do you respond to somebody who might suggest we've had 4 years of Trump and none of that stuff happened?
Say again?
We've had 4 years of Trump already, and none of this stuff happened. Why do you think it would happen on the second go-round?
Well, like Project 2025, their intention is it doesn't matter if it's Trump or not, they're going to want to start that process with the next Republican president. And they've already put a Supreme Court in place that's going to back a lot of the stuff that they want to do. And you've already got people like Mike Johnson, right? The Speaker of the House, who pushes for those things. So, it's one of the things. And the next thing is the economy. If the economy tanks again, then we're going back to trouble. I don't understand how people think that by Trump coming in, prices are going to drop, because they've never dropped before.
Well,
everything costs more now than in 80, in 1990, in the 2000s. You know what I mean? So.
Well, and I get your point. Yeah, I get your point. Prices will go up, but they're going to point to the notion that they believe prices skyrocketed once Biden took over.
Well, yeah, if you don't understand the consequences of a major worldwide pandemic and everything else that happens after that with the supply chain and all this other things and all the schools that were closed, all the money that had to be thrown in just to get the economy rolling, and that's what we're doing. We're rolling forward instead of going backwards. Trump left with minus 4 million jobs and a negative 2.2 GDP. That wasn't good. Now Biden has turned that around to a positive, whatever the last GDP was, 3%, but he's also reached 5% before. The economy's rolling. The stock market's still going up. If you told me that we had an election coming, unemployment is at 14%, GDP is not good, the manufacturing is not good, then yeah, I would tell you we have a problem. But right now, everything's trending in the right direction, which is up. So I wouldn't want that to change. Just, to put in tariffs that didn't work and then have to bail out people because the tariffs is just a tax on the consumers.
So is it safe to say you believe that President Biden has done a good job?
Yeah. From where we were at 4 years ago, would have the country shut down, thousands of people dying every day from the virus, from the pandemic, and now everything's rolling. I'm just saying rolling forward. We haven't fell back. If you would have told me, okay, this year GDP was in the positive, and then the next year went to negative, and now there's no way to look up. We're looking up. I see everything going up, including prices, because part of that deal was also our major corporations are gouging us. Okay. Period.
So if with the rosy picture of the economy you portray, I want to ask you before I move it on, why do you think so many folks have a different opinion than yours? Because Sally Jane on YouTube says Biden has ruined this country. Hang up on this fool. He is clueless how the economy works. A lot of folks differ
There was
from
none
you.
of the policies. I don't know of any policy that Biden put in that increased prices. I don't know of any. So if you know of one, let me know, because I haven't seen one policy that Biden put in that increased our prices. That all comes from capitalism, and I can live with that because we live in a capitalist country. This is going to happen, and I'm not a fool. I'm 68 years old, so I've been around, and I've voted for many presidents on both sides. I go by the economy. I understand going to the store is difficult. Things have gotten up, but there's also major profits going on while they're also raising the prices. So one thing, you have to look at it. There's no need for the corporations to do that when you at maximum profits. Right now, it's been happening since Obama, and the companies keep raising the prices.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I certainly agree that price gouging is a major concern, and I think that Biden is taking flack for that. When that part of it is really out of his control. We want a country where the government doesn't tell corporations what to do, but then when the corporations get out of hand, we expect the government to step in. So I do agree with that. Rican, Texas, I do have to move it on. Thank you for coming through, though.
Thanks for having me. I've been trying to get on for a long time. I appreciate it. Y'all have a nice day. Nice weekend.
Anytime. Come on back through anytime. So looking in the comment section, trickle up was Reagan's solution to, what did that say? Stocks? I don't know what that means, but trickle down. Trickle up. I've never heard anybody refer to it that way. It's trickle up. Nobody has any money except for rich elites. Once again, Sally Jane. I will just say this, and I'm by no means performing a live out of a vehicle. By no means am I rich, but I'm not fucking broke. I'm not living in my vehicle or something, because a lot of folks make it sound like when Trump was in office, they was living in a damn mansion, and now they're in a tiny home. I'm not going to argue with anybody's take that the economy was better in their belief under Trump than Biden. I get it. But in my opinion, the difference for most Americans is not as great as many people project it to be. I just view it that way. But different parts of the country, different economies, folks have a different opinion. And you're entitled to have that. Tap the screen. Get me on up to around 30,000. I haven't asked you guys to do that yet. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. You know the program is, always will be, MAGA friendly. Liberals are welcome as well. You could be anywhere you want to be this Friday afternoon. It's a pleasure having you here with me. Real quick in the comments, you know who John Brown. You know who John Brown is. No, I don't know. I thought you were about to say Joe Brown, Justice Joe Brown that defends Trump all the time. I don't know who John Brown is, and I'm assuming if you look him up, you'll get the entire phone book. That's an incredibly common name. Looking in the comments real quick here. Economy does better under Democrat president, says Kay Cotty. Oddly enough, that's an actual quote from President Trump. President Trump is on video. It's an older video. It's not filmed yesterday. But President Trump, as a citizen, is on video saying that the economy does better under Democrats. And it's not like he was 20 or 30 years old and had not had enough time as a businessman to make a decent opinion. He was probably 50 years old or more when he said that the economy does better under Democrats. He's on video saying it, so it is what it is. John Brown was the man that abolished slavery. Okay, Brad, why is that coming up? But make your point, we'll tackle it. Okay, John Brown abolished slavery. Okay, what's the point of that? Maybe before the Democratic Party aligned with the Rainbow Reich. Ouch. You're referring to the LGBT community as quote unquote the Rainbow Reich. By the way, smash that like button on YouTube. Helps the algorithm get the program going on YouTube. I haven't told a lot of you folks to do that on YouTube. So funny. What does that say? So funny now they think Trump isn't a liar. I'm going to leave that alone. Let me go back to the box. What are the two issues concerning you most if your presidential candidate of choice does not get elected and we get the other guy? What are your two most concerning issues? Wing, ding, king. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program there. Tim, 30,000 a year puts you in the 90% globally. True, but we're not really discussing global economics. But what you're saying is if you make $30,000 a year, you're in the top 10% of citizens worldwide. I believe that. Being poor in America is actually quite well off in a lot of places. Wing Ding King, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, handsome?
Not much at all.
Hey, man. Hey, I see how people was ridiculing the Rican Texas guy through the comments, but he made excellent sense. Everybody that's really going for Trump is going based off emotions, bro.
They say that about the liberals. Wait a minute, what happened to fuck your feelings? They say the liberals are voting based on emotion.
Listen. Majority of the time the liberals vote, we voting about facts. Let's just think of this right here. Donald Trump is on video saying that the Democrats want to kill babies after they are born.
That's
what
false.
President in
That's
their
false.
right mind will actually say that and have it on video saying that after 9 months they are trying to execute children?
It's false, but I want to push back because you said that Democrats are based on fact and Republicans are based on emotion. When Democrats say a biologically born man can become a woman, is that an actual fact?
Bro, we know damn well that cannot happen. You can only do it scientifically when you turn them into one. But biologically,
wait a minute. How do you scientifically turn a
Okay, I'm going to tell you because every child that is formed is a female first. It is a girl embryo first. That's why we have nipples, and that's why we have a penis and testicles. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's why we have that. The clitoris is a penis once everything is formed. That's why it's so many women. That's why it's so many women out here. If you notice, bro, it's at least 10 women to 1 man.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that when I was trying to find a date in my 20s. Damn, when did that happen?
It was like that, brother.
Okay.
But I'm saying,
I wasn't doing good. Keep going.
But all I'm saying, though, man, Trump is using superior scare tactics. He's just using scare tactics. He don't really want to help. He's trying to avoid jail.
So when you say Trump, the Republicans are using scare tactics. When folks on the left say that Trump is going to turn us into, some type of fascist environment, is the Democrats using scare tactics?
No, come on, man. Everybody is not a Christian. Why are you bringing that up now? It separates state and religion. That's what it says.
Yeah.
They always want to quote Constitution, but they never want to abide by it. Let's make Christians. We Christians now. But when y'all was Christian then, y'all was killing everybody. In the name of Jesus. In the name of God. That's what Christians did. That's why you have certain histories that goes down that they went into other countries, like into Africa. They went into Africa. We had a land. They had a book. We left. They took the land, and the people had the book.
Well,
all he's doing is using scare tactics, man. That guy should not be back into office. And anybody that is in agreement with Trump, after he done said, this is a quote. He said, if I run for president, I will run as a Republican because they are dumb and all they do is listen to Fox News.
Well, folks are going to push back the comments like that, for instance, which many would suggest is an insulting comment. Well, the other guy said, vote for me or you ain't black. Is that not insulting as well?
Bro, but I also take it to fact of what he meant by that. Right? Are you seriously going to vote for a person that throughout his years, all he did wrong to black people?
Well,
I never heard Trump in his life say he's going to do this for a black person. A black person can't count my money. Only Jews can put their hands on my money. Right?
Well, you're really trying my devil's advocate side here, but you do realize there's a hell of a lot of racially suspicious statements from President Biden as well. That's the other guy.
Hey, man, action speaks louder than words, man. Action speaks louder than words.
Would you not consider, hold on. Speaking of action speaking louder than words, is the 94 crime bill not an actual action? Does that not speak?
Hey.
You're breaking up.
Were you in Chicago in 94?
Yes.
I'm saying, but, and how was it in 94 in Chicago?
You want me to go back 30 years? It was a city.
I can. I was in the midst of it. Crack running rampant, cocaine running rampant, killings all the time. You had to do something. And he admit he was wrong. It probably was wrong then, but it cleared up a lot of shit. It cleared up a lot of shit in our communities, man. You got those motherfuckers out.
But Wing Ding King,
You got them out.
Wing Ding King, one of the biggest problems in the black community is the lack of fathers. The crime bill, as you say, it got folks out, got a lot of families growing up without fathers because they got draconian prison sentences because of the 94 crime bill.
We can look at it as that, but if your ass wasn't doing the dumbass crime, you would have been there for your child.
Yeah, but you don't give them, you don't give somebody a draconian sentence just because they did wrong. What do they say? The penalty should fit the crime. Biden went overboard.
If you say that, now I'm gonna say this. It was a lot of blacks in the Democratic Party and Republicans all agreed on that bill.
Okay.
Now, being from the south side of Chicago and actually seeing people killed constantly over drugs, just because drugs was there, that didn't mean we had to use them or sell them.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
We didn't have to do it. They put it there because they knew that something was going to happen. All that shit was a setup. But we abide by it, and we went for it. You know what I'm saying? We went for it. But only reason I didn't have a problem with the 94 crime bill. I was 24 years old at that time. And I seen people get killed. I'm talking about in front of my face, head blowed off.
Let me just, hold on. Before you go through the whole spiel there, let me just ask you this. Do you think the 94 crime bill was good for black people? Yes or no?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I do.
How so?
I do.
How so?
I do. Because, man, the drop off happened. Those that was really running everything, they was in jail. So people had to find other ways to make money. So some of the drug dealers like, man, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm finna go to school. So a lot of them started to go to school. A lot of them, I'm talking about the guys that I know.
Okay.
The guys that I grew up with.
You lived on the south side of Chicago in 94.
South side of Chicago.
Same over here, 74th to Stony Island. South side of Chicago during the 94 crime bill, and all of a sudden black folks started going back to school and stopped selling drugs. What part of the south side would you on?
I grew up on 43rd and Princeton. I was in the midst by the projects on the other side where the Mickey Cobras was, the Vice Lords and the GDs. I was around all of it, and I knew guys that said, "I'm not doing drugs no more." When they got jobs at the post office, when they did a trade. That's when the trades was really
let me just say this, because you're right on Princeton. My church, Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church, 46, right on Princeton, right where you lived at. I didn't see all these black folks getting trades and going back to school because of the crime bill.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, handsome. It changed a lot when people was getting wide receiver numbers.
Okay.
When you see one of your best friends get 80 years in prison.
I didn't see. Listen, I'm just being candid with you. My own dad died of that shit in 1996. I didn't see, after the crime bill kicked in, I didn't see anybody having trouble getting high or selling drugs. I didn't see the depreciation of criminals that you're talking about. I'll give you the last word. I do got to move it on.
I'm not saying I saw a great depreciation. What I did see, I saw guys starting to realize, hey man, I got to step back. I got to do something different. I can't keep doing the same thing. Of course, you're gonna always have some bad apples in a bunch, bro. You know what I'm saying? You always gonna have it, but you saw a change. People tried to change, bro. You know, and one more thing before I get off.
Real quick.
I'm not a hater of Donald Trump. You know, I was one of the guys that thought maybe he would do something different.
Wait a minute, you believe that guy is a threat to democracy, correct? Project 20?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you hate a guy? Why would you not hate somebody that you think is a threat to this country? You should hate him.
No. What I'm saying is, I wasn't a hater of the guy when he first announced in 2016. I thought him being a businessman, him being different, he was going to try to do something different, you know? But what I realized was he realized that he is a dumbass core of Republicans that don't fact check, that don't try to find out what's going on. All they want to do is believe, hey man, Jesus said he gonna do this. Jesus said he gonna do that. And none of them abide by Jesus. None of them. None of them.
All right.
None of them abide by Jesus. Donald Trump himself probably never stepped into a church until he realized, if I better start saying that I believe in the Bible and I believe in Christians, that's how I'm gonna get their votes. Because he know they gullible. He know they stupefied. Stupid.
Wing ding king. All right, man.
I'm talking about the MAGA, man.
I get it.
And the magical Negroes. You know who the magical Negroes are, don't you?
I can't stop laughing. Go ahead.
You know who the magical Negroes are, right?
No, I don't. No, I do not.
Hey, you remember the movie Green Mile?
Yes.
Right. Look how they did him, man. He saved white people's lives, took the tumor cancer out of people, put it in his body. They knew he didn't commit that crime, and they still killed him. The magical Negro, that's what's flowing through the TikTok right now. Don't nobody want to look at, oh man, Donald Trump don't give a fuck about nobody, white, black, Puerto Rican, Mexican.
There's a lot. I do gotta move it on, but a lot of people disagree with you in suggesting they don't care about people.
Man.
All right.
Who cares?
All right, Wing Ding.
Take care, brother.
You too. Stay up. Good conversation. He really put my devil's advocate ability to the test there. Wow. Okay, so looking in the comments, I agree with him. A lot of folks did agree with him. Certainly on YouTube, it was probably just the opposite. You don't need a Bible or a book to praise Jesus. I agree with that, Kev. I certainly agree with that. It should be in your heart, which is why I often question some of the things, because I'm not very religious anymore either. You heard me tell that last caller, he lives near where I used to grow up, go to church every weekend rather, Bible school and all of that. But as I've gotten older, I have questioned it for that simple reason, as my viewer said, you don't need to go to church to praise Jesus. And my question is, in regards to religion, if religion is accurate, why do you have to force it on people? It should already be in their heart. If God created us all, if he's all-knowing, all-powerful, everyone should know him. And I do question that when I look back, let's say, for instance, my own ancestry. Why didn't they come here already knowing who Jesus was? I mean, if he created them, he's all-knowing, all-powerful. Why did Christianity have to be forced on so many people? It should already be in them. If it's accurate, if it's real. So that has led to me asking a lot of questions. You shouldn't have to beat religion into someone. I've traveled other countries. You get out to the Pacific Islands, I'm talking the Fijis, the Samoas. Those folks they have another religion. In fact, most indigenous people, whether we're talking about America, whether we're talking about Australia where I lived at, or New Zealand where I was at, before folks came there to that land, they weren't following Jesus. He should have been in their heart already. You shouldn't have had to have somebody come and force it into them. So I've always questioned that. I don't understand that part. Man shouldn't have to force religion into you. It should already be there. Looking in the comments, he also created the devil, and he wanted to ascend above him and got cast out of heaven, which also is another question I'd like to bring up as well before I go back to the box. If our God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and he cares about us all, why even allow the devil to exist? The only purpose, and I hate to get into a damn sermon here, but I'm gonna go right back to the box. But the only purpose of the devil is to mess up God's plan. Literally, that's what I was taught. The only purpose of the devil is to ruin God's plan. You can give people choice without letting this dude exist. So the idea that we want you to have choice and free will, fine. But why let someone exist whose only goal is to ruin your plan? Get rid of the dude. Get rid of him. If you're all-knowing, all-powerful, get rid of this guy. He is only there to spoil everything, to create chaos and disaster. Why would you, if you want everyone to follow your teachings, you care about these folks, you believe that following your will lead them to glory, why keep someone around that's only trying to offset that? At least get rid of that guy. You can let the people have choice and free will, but you don't need to let that guy continue to exist. That doesn't make sense to me. Going back to the box, DJ Julio, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. We are the angels and the demons. Okay, I'm learning a little bit. Tim, stop telling us to stop telling us to unalienable Trump. What the? DJ Julio, good afternoon.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much at all. Asking that question, what are your two core issues if the wrong candidate ends up back in office?
Budget and economy.
Budget and the economy.
Sorry. I said that wrong. The border and the economy.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming we've talked obviously numerous times. You lean right, correct?
Yes, sir.
Why do you think so many folks, including some of my last callers, believe that the economy under Biden is doing very well?
Well, because they're probably getting some form of a handout somewhere. I can't speak for it. I don't get anything from the government, and I sure as hell, I make my own.
Yeah, but Julio,
I own my own businesses.
Yeah, but DJ, even the political analysts, even the ones on Fox and places like that, suggest that we didn't have the recession and the economy is not doing as bad as people have portrayed. Now, I know yesterday the inflation rate came out and it was not as good, but the job numbers and all that, the economy overall doesn't sound like it's in complete free fall like many would suggest.
Well, see, I believe that a lot of them job creations are extended over from Trump when he gave the businesses the ability to you get rid of some of those regulations so that people could actually hire people. Okay. And once that happens, well, yeah, over the next couple of years, even me, I was going to hire people this year, more people this year, but I decided I'm just going to wait. I want to see what Trump's going to do, because if it ain't worth it, it ain't worth it.
Yeah. So if Trump does not get reelected, you're not hiring.
That's true.
Yeah, but is that Biden's? Because you, by doing that, you would lower Biden's numbers. Obviously minuscule, but you would lower Biden's numbers. But that's based on speculation. That's not actually based on Biden.
Well, the way that the tax codes and everything changed when he came in and changed all that shit, it cost me more to hire somebody than it did 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago.
Because you're taxed more.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't.
And as a small business, that's kind of shit. I can hire people for the DJ business. That's always that's fine and dandy, because that's different. But my plumbing business.
What? How did Biden change the tax code? In what way?
To be honest, Tim, I can't even remember what it's called right now.
I've never heard this.
So I might be able to tell you.
Yeah, I've never heard that Biden changed the tax code. I know Trump went around boasting that he lowered taxes. I haven't heard that Biden done anything with the tax code.
Well, then maybe I'm misinformed, but it was my understanding that Biden reversed a lot of those things that Trump put in place.
Yeah, I have not heard any of that. As far as I'm concerned, the tax break that they gave, us regular folks has an expiration date, and the tax code that he gave corporations, for the most part, is indefinite. I haven't heard that Biden made any changes to that.
Well then, maybe I am wrong on this one.
Okay, so you're going to hire a few folks then, and you can take the blame of Biden off of it.
Well, I mean, I might still not hire somebody because it's for some reason it's costing me an extra $120 to hire somebody today versus when I say $120, that's $120 per pay period.
Okay.
So if I pay him 4 times a month, that's quite a bit of money.
Well, then, yeah, you would certainly want to find out why that 120 is there, but I don't think it's Biden's tax code that's causing that. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason, but not to mention, inflation or whatever the case may be, all of that may factor in. I mean, if you hired somebody 10 years ago, there's a reason why it was lower than it is now. Cost of things have went up.
For sure.
Okay.
And that plays a big part of it too. So maybe my representation of it's a little skewed. Maybe it does have something to do with that inflation. I haven't talked to my accountant for about a week. So
I mean, like when you hire somebody, does your employees get like health care and health insurance and things like that?
After a certain amount of time, yes.
Okay, well, the cost of medical care as it goes up, I mean, that's got to be factored in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, the cost of unemployment insurance, you name it. I mean, because if you have to let go of somebody and they get unemployment, they're going to likely get a bigger unemployment check now than they would have 10 years ago. So all of that's going to increase your hiring costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's true.
But that doesn't mean that's Biden's fault.
Well, I'm blaming on him anyway, just like everybody blames Trump. So I'm gonna blame Biden. Fuck it.
All right, let's talk about the border now. Folks are suggesting the border has always been problematic and it's not any worse under Biden than it was under Trump. What say you?
So I don't know. I think 3 million people a day is a lot of people.
Yeah. Why wouldn't, if the border is that bad, that is one of your chief concerns, do you not hold Trump accountable for stopping a border bill?
No, we talked about that before. They had a bunch of money going to Ukraine. I am not for putting any more money overseas until the rest of the UN decides to get in and start helping America out, because it's just costing us Americans too much damn money to fight all these damn wars we're not even a part of.
Yeah, but think about what we originally started talking about. I said, give me your 2 core issues. You mentioned the economy and the border. Money to the Ukraine, is that your 3rd issue? I mean, because you're willing to trade in a possible solution to something that is one of your core issues because the money is going to the Ukraine. That's a big issue the border is to you.
Right. So that's where the Democrats and the Republicans, when they drafted this bill together, and the Democrats put that money for Ukraine in there, that's kind of that's the catch-22. Yeah, we can do this and everybody's happy, but we're going to send a crap ton of money overseas, which is going to come from our American people.
So until we get the Ukraine money out of the bill, you're okay with millions of folks coming in this country every day or every week or whatever the case it may be?
I'm definitely not okay with it. It makes me more angry at my government that, not the Republicans, but and definitely it's not even a Republican or a Democrat thing. For me, it's how stupid can we be that none of your people want to send money overseas. Most of your people want to secure the border, and you draft a bill for the border, but yet you put in a shit ton of money for overseas.
Let me present it this way. Now, obviously, you believe we are greatly affected by letting all these folks in this country, correct?
I know we are. I see it on job sites daily.
Okay, so in regards to not doing something about the border because the money is going to the Ukraine, how do you think we are greatly affected by sending some money to the Ukraine?
Where's that money come from, Tim?
It comes from the tax coffers, from the taxpayers.
Right. So I'm going to spend, let's just say I'm America. Why would I want to spend any damn money overseas in order to lock up my border when we've already sent over? How many billions did we send over before this border bill even came up that the Republicans shot down because there was more money going overseas? How much more do I have to give? It's like I tell my kids all the time, how much more do I have to give you before you're actually going to do your job?
So the reason why I'm asking you about this is, if we stop sending money to the Ukraine, do you believe, because you're saying it's coming out of the taxes, obviously it is coming out of the defense budget, but if we stop sending money to the Ukraine, do you believe your life specifically will improve in any way, shape, or form?
My life gets better when American lives get better. I mean, we all benefit from putting some money back into our own. We all benefit for keeping our money in America. We all benefit from making America first. I don't care what color or creed or what religion you are. I don't care about any of that stuff. You're an American. If you are a documented citizen, you're an American. Your color don't matter.
Yeah, I get all that, but here's the point I'm trying to make.
So the point I'm trying to make is that if I'm taking money out of your pocket, Tim, to give it to Jim Smith down the street, eventually, we'll use the backyard again. The backyard's your border. Hey, I'd like to fix your fence today, but in order to fix your fence today, you're going to have to give me another $200 so I can go over here and make Jim Smith happy. If I can't make Jim Smith happy and you're not getting your fence fixed, who's happy?
Yeah, but here's what I don't get, is that I don't believe the average American, if we stop sending money to Ukraine, hell, let's say the Ukraine was able to push back Russia, get their country back up as a sovereign nation, get their export of wheat, their markets back going, start making money and give us all of our money back. I don't believe the average American would see a damn thing change in their lives. I don't believe that the average American, now the immigration issue, a lot of folks are seeing a change in their lives. So in my opinion, if you're dealing with immigrants everywhere, and to prevent from solving that issue, you're going to let money to the Ukraine stop you from doing that, when the Ukrainian money will not affect you at all, but the border issue is. I don't see I don't see how that makes sense to me.
Well, it might not make sense to you. I mean, you're a very passive person, Tim. I've talked to you several times, and you're very passive. I'm passive at moments, but I'm also going to stand up for my backyard. My house comes first. America comes first. My house comes first. Once I got my house okay, and my people are okay, my people are off the streets, and my people are earning an income, guess what? Then I can worry about the rest of you jokers out there that need help too.
That's never going to happen, Julio. There will never be a time in America where everybody feels like I'm doing so well, we can start helping people overseas. That will never happen. We are capitalists. That means we are greedy by nature. We will never be financially satisfied.
Well, no, because we have so many Democrat-backed social economic assistance programs.
Right.
Give people the benefit and give people the mindset that, hey, it is better for me to not work a normal job.
And that is the point I'm making.
Get paid for all this crap.
And that is the point I'm making. Is first you go from, I don't want to help send American money overseas. Now you're talking about Americans themselves. If we help them out, they won't work. That's what I stated. We are a capitalist society. We are greedy. We don't want to help any damn body. I don't care if they're Ukrainian or American.
Tim, you're taking this one a little bit to the left.
Taking your words. You just said it.
Okay, but you're hearing your side of it. If I quit feeding money to the other side, and I have more money to teach my men to fish rather than just giving them the fish the way the social economic assistance are set up right now, if I make you work for your money, that's raising the income guidelines.
And that also means that you're not helping anyone out at all. You stop helping the Ukrainians and you're making the Americans work. So I'm not giving anybody anything. That is the goal. That's what I said. We don't want to help anyone, American or Ukrainian.
So you'd be okay if I just started sending you $1,000 a week?
I'm just stating the point. At the end of the day, we don't want to give anybody anything.
Side of the point, I'm stating this side of the point. If we don't teach our people to be more responsible for themselves, see, it always comes back to this for me: responsibility and respect. If we don't bring the responsibility back to the American people and put their asses to work, make them get off the couch, get off the social economic assistance, go earn a living, and if we rewrite some stuff and make housing affordable again, wages affordable again, gas affordable again, bring down that inflation a little bit, everybody in America will see that benefit, because now they feel good about themselves for working. Now they feel better about themselves just providing for their families. I mean, what makes me different than anybody else in this world? I grew up with a tattered past.
Everybody else in this world.
I own 2 businesses. I own 2 homes. I'm married 25 years. I've got 3 wonderful children who are all doing great because they worked their ass off. Why is my family different than the one down the street that's getting $1,000 a week to live?
Because your family has a motto of "Don't ask me for shit." The other family may not have that motto. I'll give you the last word, though. I do got to move it on.
My last word is this, man. Let's all just be responsible for each other.
Right.
Like ourselves. Make our own goddamn money. Quit living off the government. And no, there's no white privilege in this, Mr. I just saw that as it went by, Mr. Pipe JP1. I'm Native American, I'm Mexican, and I'm white. And that's my final word.
All right, Julio, friend of the program, doors always open to you. We don't have to agree. Come on back anytime. And folks, that's how the program is ran. We certainly are a huge proponent of free speech. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. By the way, tap the screen. I haven't been soliciting that much in the screen. The numbers you guys are not tapping. Let's get up to around 50,000 likes on TikTok. Certainly on YouTube. Smash that like button if you will. Now, my last caller, self-reliance, self-responsibility. That's a very, very popular tenet. You be responsible for you, I'll be responsible for me. I don't totally disagree with that. But at the end of the day, telling you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be responsible for yourself means I'm not doing shit for you. That is why I was telling the last caller, all I'm hearing is don't ask me for shit. Because first, the statement is, we don't need to be sending money to the Ukrainians. Let's take care of each other first. But then it warped into, well, if you do for Americans, they ain't going to want to work either. I got mine, you get yours. That's what I'm hearing. And I hear that a lot from a lot of Americans. In my opinion, if you believe that, which you're entitled to believe that, there's nothing wrong with that. We all should be self-reliant, for our own well-being. I'm fine with that. But I don't believe that statement should be used by someone saying, let's stop helping the Ukrainians and take care of other Americans. At the end of the day, we don't want to take care of Americans either. This is a capitalist country. I say it all damn near every day nowadays. This is a capitalist country, and capitalism is about me, me, me. I want to make as much as I can, which is why I told the last caller, there will never be a time when Americans feel financially satisfied to the point where they say, okay, now we can start helping other people. As someone stated in the beginning of the broadcast, if you are making $30,000 a year in America, you are already in the top 10% of the wealthiest citizens on earth. What do you hear from Americans? We're being overtaxed. We don't want to help out other people. We could be getting richer. So we don't have a desire to do that. We don't have a desire to help out other folks. We are the richest nation on earth right now, and we're saying we're giving too much money. We want to make more money. So I don't see us ever being that way. Looking in the comments though, AI Fantasy Magic says, I'm helping other people. Yeah, there are individuals, but America as a nation votes towards not doing that. There are individuals that'll give you every damn thing they got, but America as a nation does not act that way. Going back to the box, I believe it says fellow. Thank you for that heart, whoever just sent that. Deborah, thank you. Appreciate the support there. Thank you very much. I don't know what just happened with my last call I was trying to bring up, but we will continue on. Looking in the comments here, I don't know what just happened there, but Carlos Zyrian, anything that begins with an X. Carlos, good afternoon. Yeah, Julio, thank you.
Good afternoon, handsome. I'm in Houston, Texas. I mean, you hit on so many topics that had triggered a response from me, from religion to the economy. But so yesterday, I was the person that put into that comment, neither one of these candidates love you. They don't like you. And you say, whoa, that was dire.
It is.
But it's factual. Biden is a lifelong politician. That should say all it needs to say about when you give a person power.
Wait a minute.
Over a decade.
Go ahead. Okay, here's the issue I have. When folks say, he's a lifelong politician, or what do they call it, an insider, or whatever the case may be. If someone was a lifelong general who has a lot of power in the military, we wouldn't automatically assume that general is corrupt. Why do we automatically assume that a lifelong politician is not doing what's best for the country? I mean, he could have retired years ago with a ton of money. Why do we automatically assume he's doing wrong?
Because power corrupts. That's what it does. That is in its nature. An average person like you and me, if we really wanted to serve our nation, we would go in, serve our nation, and come right back home. Why? Because it's not good for your family. Ask the Obamas. It's not good for your friends. They're going to have media on them, et cetera, et cetera. Being in power is not a glamorous job, unless, of course, you are seeking power.
So it's not possible for somebody to be in power for a long period of time and not be corrupt. Based on what you're saying, hell, Jesus is corrupt. I mean, you can't do it without being corrupt.
But look, Jesus wasn't on the planet very long. Actually, to my point,
he's still in power. He don't need to be on the planet. He's still in power.
Well, he has passed on from planet Earth. Now, we're going to spin into a religious conversation. I really want to do that. But for the average human being that isn't Jesus Christ, how about that? The average human being, when given absolute power like that of the helm of the United States, and I was ready.
Well, they don't have absolute power. This is not a dictatorship, at least not yet.
Okay, so yes, we do have a tricameral system, okay? Yes, I understand that. But when you put Biden has been here from the beginning. You guys are talking about the 94 crime bill. He's a bigot. Go back and listen to his young comments. Biden's a bigot. Trump, go back and listen to his comments. Trump didn't know what he was politically. He was just following in his father's footsteps. He was surrounded by bad advisors, okay? I will give him that out.
Do you believe Trump is a bigot as well, or just Biden?
I think Trump goes with the flow that benefits him most, which is why he was a Democratic supporter and then became a Republican, right? Like, he's just moving. He's already political. Doesn't make him a politician. He's already political. He's a businessman. He's looking for the path of least resistance to get to his goal. Okay. And so he does that.
So Biden is bigoted. Trump is not necessarily bigoted, but if it benefits him, he'll hang out with bigots.
Absolutely. He will hang out with Kanye, and then he'll be like, there's good people on both sides at a rally of supremacists, right? Like, he's going to take the path of least resistance that's going to get him to the goal of power. Like, both Biden and Trump.
So you're basically saying that Trump has no spine. I mean, he'll just do whatever it takes to get in power.
Politicians don't have a spine. That's why Ted Cruz talks out both sides of his mouth. That's why somebody can talk about your wife to your face, and you're like, you know what, Trump's a good guy, I'm gonna stand by him. You're like, what are you? Like, I cannot possibly, that's why my comment was, these political parties don't care about you, they care about power. They don't really even care about money. To your point, you've made the money, why are you still there? Because of the power, because of the influence. That is the pill. That is the drug.
So I go back to my original question there. So if someone is a lifelong, let's take a Colin Powell, for instance, in the military as a general.
I was going to tell you that. So I was trained under two generals. I've been in Iraq, I've been in Afghanistan. I was there for 15 years. And Remo Butler, go look him up. He was the first black special forces general in the United States military. Facts, look him up. He trained me on how to think through things, how to look at a bunch of trucks as a river when they're bringing water and gas. Like, he taught me to think abstractly like that. And he and Colin Powell were close. So I have this kind of pedigree, if you will, on understanding what it means to be a black man in a white man's world, basically, and then how to succeed within that without banging the drum of racism and banging the drum of, oh, woe is me, right? Like,
well, if you're in a white man's world, you're already banging the drum of racism. You're basically saying that right now this is a racist country where it's a white man's world.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying so here's the facts. Like, we just have to, as black people, you have to contend with this. Europeans have mastered world domination. French, Spanish, Portuguese, British, they are the ones that have conquered the world. No one from Africa, no one from India, no one from Asia has been able to do that. So you live in a white man's world. Like, you just have to cop to that. No one else has done it except those four nations, those four empires. Imperialism is a European concept, not adopted by anyone else in the world. So, because of that, you live in a white man's world. You just have to own that. And that's my point. That's what they taught me. It was like, don't try to, it's disingenuous, and you only stoke the ire of the pedigree of the people that have done it. Just accept it. Now that once you've accepted it, now you can move within it. Right.
Okay. Let's not get too far off topic. So, in other words, you're saying that Colin Powell was corrupt.
No, I'm saying Colin Powell knew how to move around corrupt people.
But wait a minute. You said power. Hold on. Wait a minute. You said power corrupts. I give you somebody that's in power. All of a sudden, they're not corrupt.
Well, rest his soul. General Powell's passed on, but
was he corrupt? Lifelong in power. Was he corrupt? He was in power for a long time. Was he corrupt?
He was a general for a long time. He went into political service. He did not believe a word of what he was.
But in the military,
let me just say this. So he was slightly corrupt. Yeah.
Okay.
He was slightly corrupt. So he was slightly corrupt. He held that yellow cake, and if you look at his face when he was holding that vial, he did not believe a word, but he's a soldier. So he was doing what he was asked to do. He did not believe in it. And when the whole world was like, I'd vote for Colin Powell. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. He was like, my wife said no. I've said no. Why? I've seen behind the curtain. I want no part of it. That's why he has my trust forever. Because he saw it. He knew it. And he said no. Okay. Like Cat Williams said about Diddy. He gonna want a party. You got to tell him no, right? You got to tell him no.
That was a hell of a transition. I will just say this though. You and I disagree on the notion that if you're in power for a long period of time, it automatically means you're corrupt. I think some people do remain in power.
A politician that's been in power a long time that is not corrupt.
I don't, when I look at some of the politicians, I don't know.
Putin is a lifelong president. He's corrupt. Xi Jinping is a lifelong president. He's corrupt. Like who? Name one. It is a part of our nature. Like you said about capitalism, right?
I didn't see Mitt Romney as corrupt. There's a good example. I didn't see him as being corrupt.
Of course, he following the wind. He was a Democrat. Then he became a Republican.
But he wasn't corrupt. He wasn't known for being corrupt.
Man, come.
I'm just telling you, he wasn't known for being corrupt.
Being a politician means you have to trade your value or values for influence so that you can stay in power. That's why you have lobbyists.
Okay.
They don't lobby like for lobbyists to work, they have to have something that influences you.
Okay. So your point is, if for us to have a non-corrupt president, it has to be somebody who's new on the scene or something like that? Because anybody that's been around for a while is going to be corrupt, in your opinion.
No, well, I'm saying that's why the people that want like, for instance, I don't want somebody that doesn't know dentistry pulling my teeth. I don't want that, right? So there is some logic to you understanding how the system works. That does not mean that you are in power. Even if you have some influence, it does not mean you are in power. It means that, right? Like, I just need you, like, if we had term limits, I don't want to spin off into that, but I would say that if you could do your job for 2 terms, right? No better than the president, go back home. Go back home. You've done the best.
I gotta move it on. I got a lot to say on it, but I do have to move it on there, Carlos. do appreciate
I'll
coming
be on here. I'll be on here some other time, and we can finish or talk about some other things. Thank you very much for having me.
Anytime. And I will say, I see somebody in the comments said that Bernie Sanders was not corrupt. Bernie Sanders has been around for a while too, so that's for folks that have their own opinion on that. But some folks said Bernie Sanders was not corrupt. I guess the issue is guys in the comments never come back, says Leslie. Why you guys are mean to my guests? Facts only, says pointless. In regards to what I was saying, though, I don't believe that being a politician guarantees you're going to be corrupt if you're there for a long period of time. Now, yeah, there's going to be some things that you might do for your own self-interest. I guess you could say that's corrupt, but if everybody in your area or the overwhelming majority of your people are benefiting as well, I don't know. I think we like when he mentioned term limits. Term limits is very popular. A lot of people want term limits, don't want politicians around for long. The reason I disagree with that, for two reasons. First of all, with time in office comes experience. Mitch McConnell, as long as he served, done a hell of a lot for President Trump. Oddly enough, the Republican Party wants him gone. Without Mitch McConnell, you wouldn't have 3 Supreme Court picks. You may have saw Trump get impeached without Mitch McConnell. That guy's done a lot. And when you've been around for a long time, you have favors, you have experience. There's benefits to being in office for a long time. Nancy Pelosi is another that has done a hell of a lot for the Democratic Party. In my opinion, reducing things down to term limits would also reduce the amount of experience politicians have. And if you have a politician that you're depending on in your district, city, state, jurisdiction, you want a long-term person. You don't want some new guy in there that don't know what the hell he's doing or how to navigate things. You want somebody that can call up favors. Let's say a barge runs into a popular bridge in your town that everybody needs to get across. You want a politician that knows who to contact at FEMA, knows how to reach the president to get shit going and get your bridge built back. You don't want some new guy that's barely knowing what to do over his intern. I don't agree that term limits guarantees a good outcome. And last but not least, I'll say this also, and this goes out to my beloved MAGA, my folks who support less government oversight, less government regulation. Why the hell do you want, if you believe in less government regulation and oversight, why do you want the government telling you who you can and cannot vote for? If you personally think that Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell or some other lifelong politician has been in office too long, you already have the power. Just don't vote for him again. Why do you want the federal government to tell you who you can and cannot vote for? You already have that power. Kentucky is a blood red state. The liberals ain't reelecting the dude. Talking about Mitch McConnell. California, when Nancy Pelosi is blue. Republicans aren't reelecting Nancy Pelosi over and over again. You don't need term limits. Talk to your own damn people and get them straight. I don't understand why you would want the federal government to come in and tell you you cannot vote for someone when you already have that power. If you think Mitch McConnell's been around too long, just don't vote for him. That's all you need. Just don't vote for him. And that's it. You are his term limit. You already have that power. Anyhow, going back to the box, so logical. Thank you. Thank you very much, folks. Real quick, tap the screen. 70,000 is in play. 800 plus you enter. Trump was a Democrat until Obama won. Then he became a Republican because he didn't like Obama. I don't know if I don't know if that is what made Trump switch parties, but I do agree Trump used to be a Democrat. He's on video saying that. I do agree Trump hates Obama. There's no denying on that. But I don't know if that particular dislike of Obama is why Trump switched parties. Fair enough. Going back to the box, seen it on hold there was Stick the Ruler. Good afternoon. Yes, handsome. That I agree with you on. We, the people, have the power. Yeah, you don't need the government to step in and tell you to do that. You can do that yourself. If you don't like the politician that's been around seeking a fourth or fifth term, then just don't vote for him. That's it. Just don't vote for him. Going back to the box, I don't know what happened with my last caller, but we'll keep it going with KC. What concerns you most if the wrong candidate, the one that you're not likely to vote for in November, if they get elected? What concerns you most going forward? That is today's topic. If I can bring a guest up, the box has been acting kind of flaky this afternoon, and it appears to be doing so as we speak, and some of you folks are not tapping the screen. Maybe the box noticed that some of you folks ain't tapping the screen. Get me on up to around 80,000. Real quick in the comments, I don't know why it's doing that. Trump brought hate, says Prince Mike D. Trump brought hate. Wow. How did Trump himself, I'd be curious because I hear that all the time. What do you believe Trump did to bring hate to our country, to our world, to our relationship with each other? What did Trump do to bring hate? Birtherism, says Magoro. Well, they're going to point out that Hillary Clinton was suggesting that Barack Obama was born elsewhere before Trump. Trump obviously took it to an astronomically new level, but Trump was not the first to suggest Barack Obama was born elsewhere. Real quick in the comments here, Trump 7 times on Epstein's Island. You're saying that Trump went to Epstein's Island 7 times. Wow. Is there any evidence to that? If the wrong candidate gets voted in, we will have more regulations and more taxes on everyone. The taxes, I think liberals tend to be more in favor of taxes than those on the right. But in terms of regulation, you're going to get it no matter what. These abortion bans, for instance, is a perfect example of Republicans also being in favor of regulations. The liberals are the party that generally is viewed as the party that's going to be heavy on regulations. Think California. But now that you got books being banned, just a sheer amount of hatred towards the transgender community, you're going to get regulations from the right. You may favor them. You may think that those are good regulations. You got Governor Greg Abbott in Texas trying to pass a law that the 10 Commandments must be displayed in all public schools. There's regulations coming from both sides. I don't think you're going to escape that no matter what. Looking at the comments, user 167 says, oh my God, another token. New to the program, use his eyes, not his ears. So glad the GOP is doing the important work of saving our appliances. Ooh, you're talking about the suggestion that Biden was trying to get rid of gas stoves or something like that. Let's try it again. I don't know what's going on with the box, but let's try with Jeremy there. We'll see if it brings up another guest.
Hello?
Yeah, Jeremy, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. We're asking a question. If the candidate that you are not likely to vote for gets elected, what are your 2 most prominent concerns if the wrong guy gets elected in November?
Okay. Number 1, I would say that would be for Biden to get elected. And for me, one of my biggest concerns is the porous border.
Well, give me number 2. We'll go back to the board, but give me number 2.
Number 2 would be the lack of intimidation on the world scale when it comes to leadership. I know people don't want to hear this, but charisma does go a long way when it comes to actually intimidating our enemies.
Now you said you use charisma and intimidation in the same sentence. Have you ever been intimidated by somebody with charisma?
I have, because I know that they can wield a lot of influence, and that makes them powerful and potentially dangerous.
Intimidation.
But that depends on what their goals are. So again, Trump, say what you want about Trump. Being a reality star, he knows how to command attention. And Reagan had a very similar thing because he was a former actor. And now, here's the thing, all politicians lie on some level, every one of them. There's no way around that. With that being said, even if Biden were to actually launch a single nuke at a country, everyone would be laughing until he actually launched it, and by then we would turn into fallouts.
So you believe before we get back to the border, you believe our adversaries are laughing at Biden?
Absolutely, he fell up the stairs. That's a new achievement.
But I've said that before. That is kind of comical. But one of the things I have to say in regards to our adversaries laughing at Biden, many would suggest that Vladimir Putin, once we elected Biden, saw Biden as a weak leader and decided to use that as his time to strike on the Ukraine. And my response is, with the war going on for over 2 years now, literally tens of thousands of dead Russians, they've lost military, equipment and things like that. Why would Putin be laughing at Biden? I mean, Biden has led to the Ukrainians kicking a lot more ass than Putin would have ever expected. Now, I don't think the Ukrainians are going to win, but if Biden was truly a weak leader, wouldn't that war have been over a long time ago?
No, I don't think so, and here's why. No matter what, I think that he was going to invade Ukraine regardless. He sees it as a former member of the USSR, and he also has strategic needs for it, including oil. There's tons of reasons why he was always going to invade it. I think what he saw was that there are tons of times he wanted to invade. He's wanted to invade for a long time, but there's only so much time where he can invade. I think if he waited any longer, it would actually be bad for him.
No, but the question I'm asking is, do you believe that when Vladimir Putin in February of 2022 went into the Ukraine, expected to be still fighting over 2 years later?
Oh, absolutely. I think he thought this would be a protracted war. The one thing people don't realize is that the USSR, while it did industrialize a lot of Russia, it also collapsed so much of their economy. They were not, they were going to industrialize potentially under, the monarchy anyway. But people don't realize how unbelievably inefficient and costly, communism is. And they basically bankrupted themselves, not only from a poor economic system, but from trying to beat us in the space race. So no matter how much technology was built, it was all built on massive debts. Putin has, I don't respect him, I don't like him as a leader, but one thing's for sure, Putin and a lot of the other leaders that came after the fall of communism in Russia have absolutely reinvigorated an economy on a level we've never seen before. But they're still extremely weak economically. They are a superpower, but that's a miracle. That is a miracle. They are really, they knew invading Ukraine and was a titan that was on its last leg, fighting.
But here's where I vehemently disagree with you. If Russia saw Biden as a weak leader, considering the disparity in strength, it's hard to believe that he would have thought he would still be fighting the Ukrainians 2 years later. In my opinion, the belief would be this will be a perfect time to attack the Ukrainians and get rid of them while Biden's a weak leader. And because the war has been going on for so long, I don't see it. I don't see Putin thinking, we're going to be in this for the long haul. I don't see that.
No, I think he definitely saw it. I would say he didn't want that. He wanted it as over as quickly as possible. That was a goal. But you see, think about it like this: there's a difference between what you try to accomplish and what you realistically think. There's always do you go camping ever?
Say that again.
Do you ever go camping or
yeah. I go camping.
So you know, when you're gonna collect a lot more firewood than you're gonna have even over the weekend and inlet season, because to you it's not about burning tons of wood all in one night. It's about knowing that it's maybe the gas went out this time or the electricity.
But Jeremy, I get your point about collecting firewood, but they've instituted the draft in Russia. They're getting hurt from this. This is not an easy walk in the park. I don't believe that they thought it was going to be this difficult.
No, they didn't. But I think Putin would have completely pulled out if Trump had been in there all the way. He wouldn't have kept going this long. Putin has always had an interest in that area for multiple different reasons. Ethnic ties that I know in the United States, we don't have the same kind of feeling of ethnic ties because we're all immigrants here. Maybe the Native Americans might have some, but even then, there's such a much smaller population. But in Europe, Irish is not the same as English, and German, even though they're Anglo, is not the same as Scottish. And so there's an emotional tie that Russians have with Ukrainians.
Yeah, but I guess the point I'm just to circle all the way back around to the claim that folks are laughing at President Biden. I don't see how Putin has a reason to laugh at Biden. I mean, you're still fighting after 2 years because of Biden. You lost tens of thousands of Russians because of Biden. You've actually taken some strikes in your own country because of Biden. The Ukrainians have actually struck targets in Russia. I don't see where the laughter would be coming from Putin.
Oh, because to him, the United States has always been a juggernaut of war. We have always been. We like Russia, are a titan, but our military strength, independent of who's running the show, has always been so high and so strong that no matter who's running the show, our military might is never something you want to have to meet. The problem is that Putin knew that Biden was never going to actually send the military proper in there. We have been doing something. We've been funding a proxy war. We've been funding a proxy war by allowing people to join a foreign legion who will now be fighting under the banner of Ukraine.
But how is that not an accolade to President Biden? You're right. We didn't send the military in. So Putin has lost tens of thousands of folks at the behest of the United States without us losing a single soldier. That should be something that Biden should be able to use as an accolade. That you sound like you're speaking favorably of Biden.
Because my argument would be that if he was truly afraid, he would have not even continued the war this prolonged. He would have ended it and walked away and let Ukraine be. And he probably would have done that because I think in a Trump administration, he would have been afraid that Trump would have just sent the military proper in there and more than happily fought Russia on their own soil.
So in other words, if Trump had been in office and Putin did this, he would have put U.S. soldiers at risk. We would have lost some Americans because you're saying he would have put us in there. He would have got some of us killed.
Depending on the actions of Putin, yes, but it's not. But I think Trump would have also been one of those candidates where he doesn't have to actually make any moves. He can stand there and be as threatening as he is, and that's so deterring that you never like think about it like this. Let's say there's two guys in a bar and they want to get in each other's faces. One guy is extremely fit and he's even famous for being in the UFC. The other guy is somewhat out of shape. He's got some muscle. Maybe he's like a blue collar guy, but he doesn't know how to fight. The guy who's in the UFC can just look at him and remain calm and just not flinch, and the fight doesn't even begin. That's kind of how it is with Trump, I feel.
I think that's
he wouldn't even have to make the threats.
Yeah, I do got to move it on, but I think that's a favorable perception of Trump, that he is the UFC guy that everybody's afraid of. I don't think that Kim Jong-un, for instance, was afraid of President Trump. Within 6 months of meeting Trump, he was already firing missiles again, and Trump was, they're not intercontinental missiles, so he was trying to downgrade what he was doing. But I don't even think Kim Jong-un was afraid of Trump. He stopped while they met for about 6 months. And the minute Trump met him and no longer was giving him any attention anymore, and Trump went around to the rest of the world, that guy wanted attention and started firing missiles again. So clearly he is not afraid of Trump.
Well, they never actually fully attacked. They did some tests.
He didn't do anything any less different under Trump than he did under the other presidents. He didn't attack anybody under Obama or under Bush or Reagan either. I mean, but he did the same thing. He kept making threats. Well, he wasn't president back in those days. It was his dad. But when Trump got in office, he was the same tyrant as he was when Obama was in office and that he is now. He didn't change hardly at all for Trump.
Right. Well, you say you want to move it along, right? So Should we go to the second topic?
No, well, I'm going to have to move it on because I gave you so much time on the first topic. We can discuss it in the future, but I do appreciate you coming on.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Anytime. Looking in the comments, ask the Mexican cartel. Trump is afraid of El Chapo. Really? I haven't heard that. Trump is afraid of MAGA, just delusional. They will believe anything. I'm going to leave that alone. Yeah, I'm tired of listening to the Russian propaganda. Why is that? I do want to, in regards to that comment, Russian propaganda. Now, my last guest suggested that he's not a big fan of Vladimir Putin. But there are a lot of folks along the MAGA side of the aisle that are very favorable to Russia. I've heard folks say that America would be better off with Putin as president than Biden. There's a lot of MAGA that are favorable to Vladimir Putin. Obviously, Tucker Carlson goes over to this country and brags about how clean it is and shit. I don't get that. Why did under the Trump administration Vladimir Putin start becoming a good guy? What did he do to deserve that? I've never been able to figure that out. Most MAGA love Putin. Some have even moved to Russia. Sir, is that true? You're telling me some MAGA have actually relocated to Russia? I haven't heard that part. But Trump does speak very favorable of Vladimir Putin. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything negative about Putin. And he is literally the only president in our lifetime that has that unique distinction. Every other president has been critical of Vladimir Putin but Trump. Why is that? Looking in the comments, we like nationalists that put their country first. World of Truther, I would not doubt it. Move to Russia. I don't know. You know, you get a lot of folks say, look, if Trump gets reelected or if Biden gets reelected, I'm leaving the country. Do you think anybody's actually going to do that? Let's say Trump wins again, since he is the most controversial. Do you believe that people will actually relocate, leave America if Trump gets reelected? I don't see it. And obviously, if Biden gets reelected, and I see one person in the comments say, yes, I do if Trump wins. I don't buy it. Now, depends. Now, if some serious policies get rolled out that we don't like, or, that stifles freedom, maybe, but just on its face, I don't buy that. Nevertheless, I do buy a good conversation with Takesha. Appreciate you holding on there, Takesha. Tim versus Candace Owens. I would love that. Might get my ass kicked. Candace Owens is an interesting individual, but I think I could handle Candace. But I would love to talk to her. Takesha, good afternoon.
Handsome. I had to come up right quick. I got my grandbaby. I can't stay but a minute. But I got two things to say.
Sure.
Name one thing Trump has ever said good about our allies.
I'm sure he has. I
promise you he's never. You cannot find a video anywhere, because we did the research, of him saying anything good about our allies.
Israel too?
Never. Listen, check this out. They say that nobody in other countries respect Biden, but they respected Trump. Have you seen a blimp of Biden flying in the air?
No, it was Trump, the baby blimp.
Did you see blimps of Trump with diapers on flying in other countries?
I did see that, yeah.
But they got so much respect for him, and they're laughing at Biden. We ain't seen no balloons of Biden flying around in other countries. Yeah. Come on, handsome.
Yeah, you are right about that. Well,
but they had the utmost respect, and they were so afraid of Trump. And let me say this right quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. Did not what's his name do test missiles as Trump was getting on the plane? Wasn't it as soon as he got on the plane and got in the air, they started back testing missiles?
Yeah. You talking about Kim?
I'm living in another world where I didn't see this stuff.
Yeah, you talking about Kim Jong-un. Yeah, I don't think that Kim Jong-un showed any sign that he was afraid of Trump at all.
And he was not afraid of Trump, and nobody else is either. Trump was in there talking about a love letter from him getting all moist, and then he's over here loving on Putin, and Putin is not afraid of Trump. Nobody is afraid of a man who gets up every day, paints himself orange, throws on a toupee and a diaper and the same blue suit. Nobody. Have a nice day, Tim.
All right, I got all kinds of rebuttals, but appreciate it, Takesha. Good conversation as always. Short and sweet to the point. What do you feel about how the media is covering the teenager who was killed during a traffic stop? Which teenager? Teenager killed during a traffic stop. I know in Chicago there was a guy who they shot at like 90-something times, but he was armed and he did shoot a cop in the process. A teenager killed during the traffic stop. I haven't seen that one, Michael Rousey. But I will just say this in regards to she's talking about the teenager who shot at the cops. In my opinion, you shoot at a cop, you deserve to die. The idea that, well, you shot me too many times, I hate to take the right-wing approach to this, but like Sheriff Judd down in Florida would say, evil can never be dead enough. Once you fire a shot at a cop, one shot, 1 million shots. Dead is dead. I don't, in my opinion, if you're dumb enough to do something like that, you got what's coming to you. I'm not going to defend somebody taking a shot at the police. That's insane. You can be critical of police. You can demand police be held accountable. I'm with you all day. There's a hell of a lot of corrupt cops out there. But murdering one has to be unacceptable in a civilized society. Same thing with defund the police. You can't have a civilized society with the police being absent. So I'm never going to be a fan of just deliberately taking the life of a cop. If it's in self-defense, but you got to be able to prove that. But yeah, you shot at a cop and he shot you back too many times. I don't buy into that. I just don't like that. I haven't seen whatever you guys are saying about the teenager getting killed. I haven't seen that yet. I will say this also. In regards to, well, you said it's overkill. Dead is dead, in my opinion. It is overkill. If you shoot a cop and the cop shoots you twice and you die and he keeps shooting, you're dead already, though. I guess could have left a little bit more around for the casket, I guess. Maybe you could have had an open casket, but I'm just not a big fan of someone who tried to take somebody else's life complaining that they died horrifically. The solution is simple. You don't want to get shot a bunch of times, don't shoot somebody. I cannot defend that. There are certain parts of Democrats, liberals, and progressives, in my opinion, certain mindsets, certain opinions that are harmful to the party. Defending an attempted cop killer is one of them. Stay away. That is not the hill to die on. There's a lot of innocent people that get mistreated by the cops that you can defend. But an attempted cop killer shouldn't be the dude you go for. It just shouldn't be. Pick somebody who was not shooting when something happened to them. I just don't like that. Pick somebody who was not shooting when something happened to them. That's the wrong person to go. And I don't know the story you guys are talking about at all. The teenager, whatever the case may be. So if I'm missing something on this specific story, I'd love to know about it, but I'm not a fan of someone taking a shot at the cops and complaining about what happened to them. You were trying to kill somebody. What the hell you expect to happen? You were actually trying to take somebody's life when you did that. Now, in the comments, CPT Cowboy says, prove he shot it at the cops. What is he shooting at? Period. Okay, he got a gun. He's not shooting it at the cops, so what is he shooting at then? I don't know the story. So is that the argument that this teenager had a gun? He's in public firing it and the cops shot him, but he wasn't shooting at the cops. Then what was he doing? I'm just going to say it again. There are a lot of folks who get mistreated by the cops that make better victims than stuff like this. This is what hurts. And I do see in the comments, Julio says, Tim, 96 shots. That story I'm aware of in Chicago. He fired a shot and he hit a police officer. Let me just say it this way. If I break in one of your houses and your family is armed, maybe your daughter hears me, you got a teenager or an adult daughter hears me breaking in at 2 a.m. She comes down the street or comes down the stairs, whether she has a gun. Maybe the dad has a gun. There are homes that are armed like this. Everybody in the family has a gun. I don't broke in their house and I take a shot at one of them. Do I expect to only get one shot fired back at me when the whole family is aiming guns at me? If the police are surrounding your car and every one of them has a gun drawn, you don't think you're going to get shot a whole bunch of times if you fire off a round? 96 shots sounds excessive as hell. I get it. But you are surrounded by a bunch of armed people who have all been trained to shoot your ass if you fire at one. Literally, it's like the Three Musketeers. If you shoot one, you're shooting all of us. They all are aiming at you. This is not the time to complain that I got shot too much. Why isn't that predictable? All of them, they all got at least 17 aimed at you right now. And you gonna fire a shot off in that environment? There has to be some level of personal responsibility here. This is not the people to defend. This is what hurts the Democratic Party. This is also what hurts racial movements. There's a lot of victims of racism out there. Folks doing their lives in prison for shit they didn't do. Folks who, like those 2 African Americans in Mississippi, where those 6 cops, the Goon Squad, went in their house and damn near killed one of them just because they didn't like black people moving in the neighborhood. There are real victims out there. Lots of them. Make a wiser choice than somebody shooting at a cop. It to me is awful. That's a bad choice to go with. Somebody taking a shot at a cop, and the argument is he got shot too many times. I don't know where to go with that. Looking in the comments, worst case, he would have been sitting in the back of a police car, and then he could have lived to sue. Yeah? If you shoot at a cop, in my opinion, you deserve whatever's coming to you. You just do. You're not showing any mercy at all to the cops. But your family is demanding that they show mercy to you. You were trying to kill someone. You were trying to make someone a widow. Or a whatever the hell, widow. You're trying to make somebody a widow. Or perhaps disabled for the rest of their lives or something like that. You're not the person to be demanding sympathy. What you're doing is wrong. All day of the week. What you're doing is completely wrong. There's got to be better cases to go on. Now, in the comments, someone says he didn't fire his weapon. If that's true, that's a whole different argument. But I'm under the impression in that 96, this happened with Jalen Walker in Cleveland, same story, running from the cops at high speed, allegedly fired a round out of his window, and there's video of him, the shot going off in his car. Once they caught up with him and surrounded him, he did something very similar. Darted out the car, took off running with a gun in his hand, and they lit him up. Same argument. They shot him too many times. Can we find better victims than this? I don't want to sound insensitive, but can we find people who were truly being victimized and not trying to kill people when something bad happened to them? Do we really have to run with this? Look it in the comments. I don't know what I just clicked on. That could be a whole show in itself, but I don't believe in trying to make victims out of people who were in the process of trying to murder people. Big Rooster, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. You got to go with the victims you have. No, you got plenty of more victims than that, Leslie. You got plenty of more victims than that. I think we know from being a child, if you pull a gun on a police officer, you can go out in a blaze of glory. You know that from the age of 5. Pulling out, even revealing a gun. And before I go to you, Big Rooster, let me just say this as well. Now, a lot of my non-black viewers may have a different opinion on this, but most black men in particular have had parents that have given them the talk about what to do when they're pulled over by police. Do you think that guy followed the advice he received? You know to turn into a block of ice when you're pulled over by police. Revealing the gun, sudden movements, all of that shit. Does this guy sound like he even took any of that advice? Big Rooster, good afternoon.
Don't sound like it to me, too.
No, I mean, come on now. We got to have something better to run with.
Hey,
Listen, man. First of all, thanks for having me. Second of all, man, I think Moo and Takesha, man, vice president, president, vice president, in either order.
You trying to start a civil war? You trying to start a civil war, man? By the way, there's a movie Civil War coming out today. I really want to see it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I want to see that myself.
Yeah, I'm dying to see that.
But listen, Tim, and I know I'm about to make a few people mad on the right, but I'm convinced that Trump can walk up and ask any one of them, men or women, to give him a blowjob, and they'll do it.
Damn.
And they'll just do it.
You gotta be crazy, right? Wow.
Come on, Tim. Come on, now. Prove me wrong. One of them people on the right has to prove me wrong.
Well, he did suggest Mitt Romney came to him on his knees. He did say that. Yeah, he did say that.
So that's all I'm saying. This man can do no wrong to them, Tim. No wrong whatsoever.
I will say I posted a video on my page where they did it was comedy. It wasn't based on reality, but they took like a focus group who actually believed it was true. And they were advised that some pretty negative statements from Trump were coming out and they needed to get ahead of it. And even though it was was probably an impression, it wasn't Trump himself saying this stuff, but the group believed it was. And they were tasked with how do we defend him for saying this stuff. And I think the first thing he was saying all kinds of racist stuff. And I can't even remember he was talking about going into a dressing room with a bunch of 15-year-old girls and how he's ordered using Chinamen to set up the best camera so he could get the best angles and how he would walk in there naked. And it was obviously criminal all the way around. And those folks were offering sincere defenses. He's a man just like the rest of us. And, we done all done some things we shouldn't do. And they really were trying. And then there was a second part to it where they're doing like a Larry King interview and it's on screen. So these people really believe this is actually happening, even though it's completely made up. And go ahead.
So let's just get down to what was said just a couple callers ago, and the last guy. He said before Takesha, he said that Biden is a laughingstock.
Yes, he did say that.
Did the world leaders not laugh at Trump?
He laughed at him out loud.
Laughed at him out loud on camera.
That actually did. That's a good point. I've never thought about that, but that is a really good comeback for anybody that says they laughed at Biden.
Tim, man, come on. I know these people saw it, but you yet and still, like you said. Now, if people were so not afraid of Biden, don't you think they would attack U.S. soil?
Well, he has advisors though too. That's one of the things folks always say when they're afraid. You can't even.
Saying, Tim, listen to this, Tim. If I'm not afraid of you, I'm gonna come. If I feel like you're a threat to me and I'm not afraid of you, I'm gonna come and approach you and try and do something to you.
Yeah, but here's the difference though. Even if Biden is completely out of his faculties or whatever, one thing we know about President Biden over President Trump is he is far more likely to listen to the advice of his advisors. So if you think Biden is a weak president, you decide to invade the United States, he's going to listen to what the Joint Chiefs tell him. The Joint Chiefs say we need to do a preemptive strike on Iran or somebody. He's going to do it. So
that's what I'm saying, Tim.
Yeah, so he's not a weaker president from that standpoint.
That's exactly what I'm trying to get at. I don't know where these people get off saying that Biden is weak. I don't know where they get off saying that. I mean, was it not Trump that sat on the couch or on the chair and said, Putin said he didn't do it. I don't see no reason why he would lie to us.
Yeah, he did say that.
Was it not Trump saying that?
I never could figure out, though, why Trump and Trump supporters are so favorable of Putin. I don't know what changed, because all the other presidents are not. Even the Republican presidents, like Bush and his dad and Reagan, they weren't favorable of Russia. What is it about Putin that they like?
Hey Tim, I'm glad you brought that up. Listen, let me be the first person on here to apologize to Bush, because I thought we would never get a more ignorant president than Bush.
Wait a minute, you saying Trump is ignorant?
Trump is 10 times ignorant as Bush.
He's a successful billionaire.
Yeah, well, he's a successful inheritance billionaire, right?
You don't think that man has made his own money?
Why is he borrowing money to pay New York right now?
Because you said people would suck his dick. You don't need to pay his own money. Why would you? If you go to me, you just said it.
On this last note, because I know a lot of people want to get up and call and talk with you because you got a great show. I always tell you that every time you let me come up.
Thank you.
Listen, one thing I want to say is, if Trump was so strong, I see all these capes, these posters with Trump with a cape on, like he's Superman, and what I'm saying, this and that and this. If that was the case, why did he go in to a closed door meeting with Putin in Helsinki?
Yeah.
And kick everybody out, translators, everybody.
Yep, took the translator's notes. Well, he can't kick the translator out because he don't speak Russian.
Yeah, the notes. I'm sorry. Yeah, took the notes and everything, right?
Notes. Yeah.
So my thing is this: do you really believe that Trump would have stopped Putin from invading Ukraine? That's my question.
No, I don't. In fact, I think if
I hear people say it all the time. Oh, he would have stopped that one. And then let me just say this. One other thing, and I'm gonna get out of here. How many wars have Biden started? They keep saying that Biden's got us in these wars. Biden hasn't started any wars yet, has he?
No.
Okay, that's all. Hey, my point well taken.
All right,
Tim,
Big
Rooster.
Rooster.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. Moon, Takesha, y'all run for office, please. I'm out of here.
All right, Big Rooster. Thank you for coming through. And yeah, he's right. I don't think Biden has started any wars. We just assume that the folks who have been aggressors around the world are doing it because they believe we have a weak president. But no, Biden hasn't started any wars. That's a well-stated point. You want MAGA, bring me on. But no, I don't think that what we've seen suggests that the world is laughing at Biden and favorable to Trump. As Takesha pointed out, the blimp that they were flying over the streets of London suggesting they didn't want Trump there. Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico, said Mexico is not going to pay for that fucking wall. We know he had a hell of a lot of problems with Justin Trudeau of Canada. Angela Merkel of Germany, he had a lot of problems with her as well. Trump, this is what someone asked, and I didn't have an answer for it, but shit, now that I think about it, the question was, has Trump said anything favorable about our allies ever? I don't know. Has he? Because he said a lot of things that were unfavorable of many of our leaders. So, I mean, now that I really think about it, the answer might be no. But we know he did speak favorably of some of our enemies. So that is an interesting question. Look at his relationship with the Queen. Yeah. You talking about Trump's relationship with the Queen? Okay. All right. Tim, do you know about the USMCA? No, I do not. What are you talking about? Look real quick in the comments. Trump favors China, Russia, and North Korea. I don't agree that he favors China. I don't believe he said a lot of negative shit about China from the Kung Flu virus on down. So is Kung Fu virus or Kung Flu? Whatever. He hasn't spoken favorably of China, but obviously Kim Jong-un and certainly Vladimir Putin, he's been incredibly favorable of. He doesn't favor China, Russia, and North Korea. Okay, real quick, going back to the box, and thank you folks that are tapping the screen. 120,000 is possible. 800 plus of you still remain. Why don't you do the research before you guys talk crap, says Juice Speak. In regards to doing the research, that is the whole purpose of having open dialogue. That's the whole purpose of having an uncensored program. Before I go to the box, I'll just say this. I've always believed in free speech. Because if you censor speech, you don't censor opinions. You just quiet the person down, take them out of your own ear range, but they still feel that way. When people can talk, you can change hearts and minds, get a hell of a lot more accomplished. In regards to research, also why we have an Uncensored program, because if you're doing all your research from CNN, MSNBC, you're going to think one way. If you're doing all your research from OAN or PragerU or Epoch Times, you're going to think the other way. By having an uncensored program where we allow everyone from both sides of the aisle to speak, you can now have someone who has been watching nothing but OAN having a civilized conversation about somebody else watching MSNBC. That doesn't happen in right-wing echo chambers or left-wing echo chambers. That's why we do believe that everybody should be allowed to speak. So when you say do your research, I would submit to you, it really depends on where you're doing your research from. As I just stated, if you're doing all your research from MSNBC or you're getting it all from OAN, your research may not even be valid. Even though you can say, look, I've been doing a hell of a lot of research. Yeah, but the people you're getting it from ain't telling you the truth. Democrats use fascists, Marxists, and authoritarian tactics to gain power. Democrats use fascist, Marxist, and authoritarian tactics to gain power. Yikes. But the leader of the Republican Party has already stated that if he gets reelected, he's going to be a dictator on the first day he goes in there. I'm surprised that didn't come up in your comment about Democrats. Going back to the box, Clinton Walston, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Trump forgot his wife's name. Damn. Well, when it comes to E. Jean Carroll, he also forgot what she looks like. So Trump has a few problems there too. Clinton, good afternoon.
What's up, brother?
Not much at all. You believe that Democrats use what did you say? Marxist, fascist. You think Democrats are like that?
Say that again. You're cutting out, or I am one.
Okay. Someone just stated in the comments that Democrats use fascist and Marxism to remain in power. Do you see that as valid?
I do. I think they try to scare people into getting votes. I mean, think about it. They said Trump was going to be a dictator. Yes, Trump said he was going to be a dictator on his first day. But if you don't, and I'm not saying, most of the right or the left wing people, they're looking at dictator like China, like Russia. Hell no. He's talking about get this all these undocumented people out of the damn country. Wow. That's not making the money country. It's costing the taxpayers money and costing the country more and more problems and stuff. And I'm not saying all of them. I know damn well there's some good ones. I work with some good ones. And I have Hispanic friends. I have black friends. I have friends of all origin, every bit of it. But what gets me is a lot of people take shit out of context. They say, Trump's going to do this and Trump's going to do that. They don't get the whole damn story.
Yeah, but and by the way, Tammy, thank you for that support. Tammy Green, thank you. I did see that. I haven't seen much of that, but thank you today for doing that. In regards to the Democrats using fear-mongering, didn't folks suggest that if Barack Obama was president, he was going to take everybody's guns, gas was going to be $5 a gallon, and he was going to turn us into it wasn't Venezuela, it was Greece back then. He was going to turn us into socialist Greece. Do the Republicans not use fear tactics as well?
Oh, you don't hear as much of it on that side. And I'm not being biased. I mean, how many times have you heard Trump say they're going to take your guns? I've not heard it.
Well, he's too busy telling us that.
I've heard it from everybody else. I've heard it from Hillary Clinton to we don't have a F-16 and Joe Biden. All the Democrats, all you hear is about the Second Amendment. Second Amendment, take your guns. If they want to take your guns, why in the hell are they giving the Supreme Court and all that giving rights to illegals to have guns? Why is that? They want to take American guns on American soil, but they don't want to take illegal guns on American soil. That makes no damn sense.
Well, I think I agree that no illegal immigrant should have the Second Amendment rights, but that happened with one judge. That ain't happening all over the country. And by the way, Andy, thank you for that as well. Certainly, thank you. That. So here's what I have with the fear mongering issue, because you got President Trump himself suggesting that Democrats want to abort babies after the 9th month. Is that not fear-mongering?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a Republican, okay, but I'm for me, like that guy said on your show yesterday. I'm for me. I'm for me and my family.
Yeah, but you're not answering but Clinton, you're not answering the question. Is that fear-mongering? Saying that Democrats want to abort a live baby?
The Democrats want to abort a live baby. Okay, what about Planned Parenthood? What about that? Was that not?
You're still not answering the question. Trump said that Democrats want to abort a baby after the 9th month. Is that fear-mongering?
No, to me it's not.
Is it true?
I don't think it's true. I mean, he's given the power back to the states, correct?
Yeah, but
Roe versus Wade, correct?
So you said you don't think it's fear-mongering, but you also said you don't think it's true. So it's just a lie then.
No, there's some things that's told that is the facts that people can't handle, and there's things that's told that's fear-mongering. Facts is they're probably never going to take all these guns because there's too many damn rednecks and southern people in this world.
Okay.
That's a fact. Okay. Fear-mongering is when every 4 years when one side or the other pokes whatever your main topic is, whether it be abortion, guns, gun rights, or something, freedom of speech or something, they go after that. It's just like trying to stick a thread through a eye of a needle. Well, you got so many chances to do that, you get pissed off.
I think where the difficulty is, I don't get how you're judging this stuff, because your definition of fear-mongering, in my opinion, seems to change when the Republicans are doing it. Because if you admit that nobody's trying to abort, if you admit people are not trying to abort post-9-month-old children, a child in the 9th month, you admit that's not true, then you're trying to scare people that the Democrats want to kill kids. That is fear-mongering.
The Democrats wants to kill kids. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. What about there's so many topics I hear through the week. Only day I can really call in and get through to you is on Fridays. That's it.
Okay.
But what I am getting at is this. It's like I hear a lot of people on your show talk about this, talk about that, talk about the abortions and stuff. I'm like this. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in abortion. Not at all.
Okay.
But I like your man said yesterday, I don't have a uterus either. I think myself, I have to answer to God once I get upstairs. You've got to answer to God.
Right.
And
if you believe in God.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you don't believe in God, in the good book, that's fine. You believe the way you want to believe. I'll believe the way I want to believe. But at the end of this, if you don't believe in God, who are you going to answer to and where are you going? I mean, I'm not saying you're going to hell if you don't believe in God, because that ain't for me to judge or decide. But what I am going to say is this. If somebody don't believe in God, they're not atheists, but they don't believe in God. They're just kind of in the middle. They're in limbo. Where are they going to think they're going to go once they lower that body in the ground?
Yeah, but here's the issue I have with that. As you said, you're gonna have to talk to your maker based on your decisions. When you look at the history of America, whether we're talking slavery, oppression, colonization, Jim Crow, when it comes to having an answer to your maker, you may go to heaven and find out you don't know nobody that is there. Our history is loaded with a hell of a lot of people that should be in hell. So I don't know if that is a good definition to even bring up.
Well, what about the movie, the two movies it was put out? And I'm not saying they're making this up. I'm not saying anything like that. What about the two movies? It was like 30 minutes in hell or 15 minutes in heaven or whatever. One was a little boy, and one guy got out of bed, and he said he got up and he fell, and said he seen all kind of demons and all this stuff, and it wasn't a dream. I mean, I've seen people who done wrong in their lifetime. That it's a guy on TikTok, matter of fact, his name's Jason with a felony, and he talks on topics straight up how it is. Jason with a felony, look him up. And he admits he used to be a bad person. He's done a lot of bad things in life, but he talks about Christian faith. Well, the one thing I have a problem with, Tim, and I love your show. I mean, I may be MAGA, but I love your show. You go both sides of the aisle. You don't sugarcoat shit, and you look at shit 50-50, and I like that.
Thank you.
And I will give you this much. But what ticks me off about people is like, I don't care if you say God. I don't care if you believe in the devil. I don't care how. I mean, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody that's on your show. Believe the way you want to believe. But the one topic that pisses me off worse than anything is they'll have transgender people in schools and using people's bathrooms. But then if, they push their beliefs on our kids, but I'm not out here pushing my Christian beliefs on nobody. I'm sitting here telling you straight up, and 99% of the Christian people on your show, your talk show says right there, your podcast says right there, it says, I'm not pushing my beliefs on nobody.
That's not true. That's not true. Let me respond. I'll let you continue. Real quick, for the super chat, thank you. Free my grandma on YouTube says, my trust is not in men, but considering the circumstances, it's either Trump or a civil war. Trump 2024. Wow. A Trump supporter saying it's either we put Trump back in office or it's going to be a civil war. Free my grandma. Damn, I hope you're wrong on that. What I want to talk about, Clinton, in regards to the notion that the Republicans are not pushing their beliefs on anybody. Did you hear about the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott? Governor Greg Abbott trying to pass a law that every public school has to prominently display the 10 Commandments in every public school in Texas. Is that not pushing your beliefs on people?
I don't believe it, because if you don't do it, don't do it. I mean, if you go to school and it's in there and it's against your religion or faith, get up and walk out in the hall while the rest of them does it.
So,
but in the same sense, how is it fair when they take these kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth graders to the library and you got a transgender person sitting right there talking to them about sex and transgender shit? I mean, it goes the same way.
But no, not according to you. According to you, displaying the 10 Commandments in every school by law is not forcing Christianity down their throats, but having a transgender person in school is. Explain the difference.
The difference is, what was this country founded on? It wasn't founded on transgender. It wasn't founded on anything but Christianity. Okay, if person don't like, I don't go to a Methodist church. I don't go to a holiness church. I'm Baptist. I believe in that ways. There's several different ways. I had a wife one time before my divorce. She went crazy as bad shit. But anyway, I had a wife one time who sat right there, and she had a customer that believed in atheist. Well, after a car wreck and everything, and come, I think it was 20-something days in the hospital, and he finally learned to walk and everything. About 4 or 5 months after that, he received God in his life. And I'm not saying that, that maybe God scared him of that. I believe in God. I believe in the next life. I believe in the Holy Spirit. I believe in, I don't go to church like I should, but it says nothing in the good book front to cover about you have to go to church. Church can be in the front yard. It can be.
But if you're putting the 10 Commandments in every public school, Clinton, how is that not shoving the Christianity commandments? How is that not shoving that down the throats of children everywhere? Because he didn't say it just had to be in schools. It had to be prominently displayed. So kids have to be able to see that. If a transgender suggested anything about their community has to be prominently displayed in schools, we would say they're shoving their lifestyle down the throats of kids. How are you giving the Christians a pass?
Because the thing about it is, this country was founded in Christianity. It wasn't founded on, when I was a kid, I'm 49, nearly 50 years old. I remember back when people that was, transgender or whatever, or gay or lesbian or whatever, they didn't come out here and force it down your throat. They believe what they believe, you believe what you believe, and you live like you live, and they live like they live. But now on this day and age, it's getting shoved down our throats. And you're just talking about the 10 Commandments. That is part of what this country was founded on.
So what does separation of church and state mean to you?
Well, the government says separation of church and state, and also the states say that. But if you look on money, it says in God we trust. So how they separate that?
Okay, so it's a lie, in other words.
Well, it's a lie, but the thing about it is, if you got a statue right there of Martin Luther King, and you got a statue of a Confederate statue, they're going to fight us like hell to take that Confederate statue down. Even though they ain't been no slaves in over 200 damn years. But right here is a Martin Luther King statue, and I think he was a fine man that had fine principles. I really do. But, why can we have one statue, not the other? Why can we have the 10 Commandments and then have, a belief? A belief is not 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments is what was found on this land we live on, what we call America.
But you do, wait a minute.
Fathers found this on.
But Clinton, you do understand that the Confederate movement was based on hatred, don't you? I mean, you don't see Martin Luther King that way, do you?
I don't see Martin Luther King yet, but I do not. I think, like I said a while ago, I think Martin Luther King was a very, very fine man. I do think Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson's full of shit because they never show up until there's a black person shot, but now you get a white person shot, just like Arkansas.
That's actually not, Clinton, that's not true. There was a black, I mean, better yet, there was a white kid shot by the police, by the way, in northwestern Arkansas. And both Ben Crump and Al Sharpton were there fighting on behalf of that white child. Their family reached out to them.
Whoa, hold up. There's a politician in Arkansas, in Little Rock. He was the highest paid politician in Little Rock. He went and collected coins. He collected guns. He was an average gunner. He was licensed and everything. The ATF went in there and shot him in the middle of the night. And that was just the other day.
Well, maybe you should have more white folks that were mistreated by the police saying, we reached out to Al Sharpton. We didn't call him a piece of shit. We actually reached out to him to help us out, and he turned us down. I think you'd have more of a point, but I don't think they're reaching out. Just like when a lot of these black folks have Al Sharpton or Ben Crump or Jesse Jackson speaking on their behalf, it's usually because the family reached out to them. Maybe
I'll tell you the one thing you need. I'll tell you the one thing you need to look up, brother. I love you to death and I respect your show, but you need to look up the largest slave owner. Google this, the largest slave owner in the United States. He was black. But you don't hear that in history books.
Well, I would have to ask you why not? Because up until probably at least the 1980s, black people, there was no black people writing the history books or producing them. They were all written by white people. So are you saying that white people didn't teach history correctly?
Well, no, I'm not saying it wasn't Democrats or Republicans or people trying to keep racism alive either. You got to remember, I live in the South. I live in Alabama. Okay, there's more interracial babies born in the South than there are anywhere in the United States. If it was still racial, was still alive, I'm not saying there's not a racial person in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, or anything. I am saying this: if it was racial, like everybody wants to talk racial this, racial that, when they don't get their way, don't you think that white would still be with white and black would be with black? No, there's mixed babies everywhere over the South. And not only that, I mean, what I was talking about, the largest slave owner, he owned 1,000-something slaves. He was the largest plantation slave owner in the United States. He was in North or South Carolina. But that is not spoken about, because if it was spoken about and it was taught correctly, then racism will not stay alive without them people poking a stick at the bear.
Well, if you're suggesting that if history was taught correctly, it would get rid of racism, then you got to blame the folks who taught so much damn history incorrectly. That certainly wasn't black folks. We wasn't writing the history books. It was written by white America.
Well, the thing about it is, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, if I'm sitting here writing a novel and I'll write all about all white folks and white this and white that, black folks are going to have a problem. And then if it's all wrote about black folks, then white folks are going to have a problem. Now, what it is, this country is so damn divided, and I want to say this before I go, and I know we're taking time, but this damn country is so divided, not Democrat, Republican, whatever. It's about so many damn problems that they've caused. And not just all of them. I'm talking about all of them, not just one or two. I'm talking about all of them. There's bad Democrats, there's bad Republicans. And I think, honestly, the whole damn government needs wiped out. And they need to start again, because, you know, we're double taxed over shit. And it says no double tax. No man should be double taxed in the Constitution. If you can live with the Second Amendment, you can live with the First Amendment. Why can't you live with that amendment? We're getting taxed to hell to keep the whole damn world going.
So when you say the whole damn... So when you suggest the whole damn government needs to be wiped out, would you put Trump in that same category?
If he don't do right, you're damn right.
Okay, so...
See, everybody says something about Trump being a dictator. He's already been in 4 years. He wasn't a dictator. So what the hell is going to make him a dictator on his second go-around?
Well...
It's just all that...
Well, wait a minute. But Clinton, they already are asking potential Trump administrators or Trump loyalists who won the 2020 election. They're asking questions that seem to be based more on loyalty than devotion to America. That's why people are saying that.
Well, I mean, I myself, if you want opinions, like I told you before last time we talked, brother, I love you to death. Opinions like ISOs, everybody's got one but a buzzard. You know, thing about it is, you go out here, you see a Democrat I mean, they're going to have, they got businesses. Republicans and Democrats has got business. Not just Trump, not just Biden, not just this one or that one. All of us got business. Well, they got their damn hand in the cookie jar and it's called double dipping. That's supposed to be against the law. Till that shit stopped, they ain't nothing. You think, I'll tell you what needs to go down. What needs to go down is all these damn politicians need to make a fucking $1 a year, and whatever they can make through their businesses, and quit to double dipping. I guarantee you there wouldn't hardly be nobody running for office.
No, I agree with that, but I don't think America would be a better country. I got to move it on, Clinton. Appreciate you coming in.
It's a pleasure. Maybe they'll get Oprah Winfrey out of the damn office and off that talk show. We get you on a damn talk show.
You never disappoint, man. Come on back anytime. Clinton,
all right, brother. God bless you.
You too. Clinton Walston, everybody. Wow. Trump's son-in-law. Okay, look at the comments. Trump showed us who people really are. They were afraid to show us before. I hear that a lot, that Trump exposed a lot. Trump promised to drain the swamp, but his failure to drain the swamp has been replaced in defense of Trump by saying, well, but yeah, he exposed people. That ain't what he promised. He didn't run a campaign in 2016 to expose. He ran a campaign to do something about it. You want to call a plumber to your house to expose the leak? That's not success. That doesn't do anything. You left my house, the damn pipes are still leaking. Exposing it is not what I called you out. I called you to fix it. He was called to Washington to fix the swamp, not expose it. That's not an accolade. But people know that he didn't succeed in draining the swamp, so well, he exposed it. They're all still there. You're not. You didn't do anything. That's not something that benefited America. You exposed a bunch of people that, in your opinion, is still in power. I don't see how folks believe that that's somehow something to brag about. Damn, I don't know who was him. Wait a minute. Damn, I don't know who was him or Tuberville in embarrassing about. I get your point there, Decky. You're saying you don't know who embarrasses Alabama more. Tuberville, wasn't he hanging around the mall trying to get with little children or something like that? Or my last guess. You're saying you don't know who embarrasses Alabama more, Tuberville or my last guess. Be kind, folks. Be kind to the guest. Colt 100. Wow. I don't know if Tim is ignorant or if he's trying to be Joe Rogan, says Angle Fan Gaming. I'll go with ignorant for 200. And I'm not necessarily, I'm being facetious. It's a little bit of sarcasm here, but not necessarily. I just want to make it clear. I don't believe anyone watching has all the answers, and I am included in that mix. That is why I always favor uncensored free speech dialogue. It's kind of like a potluck. Everybody that shows up brings something to the pot. After a while, we got a good meal. If you didn't do that, you may be eating broth and potatoes all day. Somebody brings some meat, somebody brings some carrots, somebody got some celery. We got a really good meal going on here. So it's not ignorance, but I will admit I don't have all the damn answers, and I don't think anyone else does either. Look it in the comments. You should question the lies more. I question what I don't believe to be true, but I do believe in letting the guest speak without, I don't talk down or degrade guests. If I think what you're saying is not true, I will come out and say that. But you see some of the other lives where they're just outright insulting people. We don't ever do that here. You don't have to ever worry about a host that's going to be talking down a guest. I believe your opinion is just as valuable as mine. I may not agree with anything you're saying, but damn it, you have a right to speak, so I don't do that. He was saying that this country was founded by Christians, but that was also when women had no rights. Esmeralda, that is absolutely true. And that's a pushback I often give for folks who suggest America would be better off if we returned back to Christianity. Christianity in the home, Christianity in schools, Christianity in our lives. My pushback is there was a time when America did all of that, and most of us don't want to go back to that, particularly minorities and women. The further back in America you go, the more religious we were, more Christian-based we were as a country. And the darker it gets, the more oppressive it gets, the more violent it gets. I don't want to go back to that. Fact is, there's a lot of good aspects of following the Bible and being religious. A lot of good aspects of it. But there's also a hell of a lot of judgment and hatred that orbits around it as well. A lot of exploitation for you folks who believe career politicians are corrupt. You do realize that shit started in churches, right? You do realize that the Catholic, Lutheran, Mormon, a lot of them were using the same political corruption you point out today before politics really became a thing. It started there. It literally started there in many of the biggest, most powerful religious institutions. That's where the corruption actually started. So just want to run that by you. Because whether you're talking about England and their Catholic base or you name it, it started there. It started based on religion. And then it migrated to politics. Because the religious leaders used to be your politicians. They used to be the ones with all the control and power and made the rules. And then it migrated to actually being politicians. So if you don't like all of the issues about politics, but you're saying we go back to religion, it's kind of a 6.5 dozen or the other. Because that's where it actually got its roots. That's where it started. Looking in the comments, no hate like Christian love, says Tammy Michelle. That's frightening. Catholics are taking us on behind the scenes. I don't understand that one. MAGA bootstraps are broken. If MAGA bootstraps break, they believe in self-reliance. They'll sew on new bootstraps and continue on. They believe that you should not ask for a handout. You should work to pull yourself up. So if their bootstraps break, they'll be all right. They'll sew on new ones. It started way back with a Knight Templar and the Vatican. That's the point I'm making. You're right. It started with religious leaders acting as politicians, making all the rules, all of that. And then we just started calling them politicians later on. But that's where it came from. Anyhow, folks, you know what this is. I do appreciate the 130,000+ likes. I'm no historian, but how can we have right to religion, but they say church and state must be separated? Because they lied. They lied, Angle fam. They lied about separation of church and state. I've said it on many lives. Some of America's most well-known slogans are similar to a relative telling you at a funeral, if you need something, call me. They're saying that because you are grieving. They don't actually want your ass to call them and ask for anything. It just sounds good for the moment. American phrases, separation of church and state. Bring us your tired, you're weary, you're poor. All men are created equal. All of that stuff is bullshit. They never meant it, but it sounds good. Is there anyone that believes when they said all men are created equal at the time, back in that era, they actually meant it? Or bring us your tired, your weary, your poor? It sounds great until the people start coming. And I'm not talking about right now with what's going on at the border. America has an awful hatred towards immigrants, no matter what era you're talking about. Whether it's when the Polish came here, the Italians, the Irish, the Chinese, every group of immigrants that came to this country faced a lot of bigotry and hatred. It's never been a country that was pro-immigration. It's not talking about right now. We know there's millions of coming now. We're not fans of them either. But they were coming in smaller groups back then, and they were facing the same ridicule and bigotry that these are facing right now. Bring us your tired, your weary, your poor, written on the Statue of Liberty is bullshit. As I stated, if you need anything, call me. I didn't expect your ass to actually call. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Catch you on Saturday. I believe I'll be here Saturday. Same with you folks on YouTube. As always.